recording.
Hmm? Well, what are you doing?
I'm just starting.
Do I at least get a kiss goodbye? Have fun.
Aw. That was sweet.
So you're not just random guy from Target. You can be Evan from Target.
That's good.
What the fuck? What?
I rarely log into my photography blog, like my quote unquote business one. But I just logged on there, and I keep getting a message from somebody that says things like, "I really love your blog. You do great work. I really love your blog. I enjoy looking at your blog." There's like 6 of them.
Is it from the same person?
Yes.
Perhaps you want to block that person because they kind of are sounded like a stalker.
Well, I even responded to one of them, and I said, "Thank you very much. I appreciate it." And then he followed it up with "Good night."
Possibly foreign.
Yeah.
Not that there's a problem with that. It's a possibility. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud that it's something weird, and the fact that they keep saying the same thing is off. But yeah, I wouldn't. Well, I guess it's not a cause for concern so much yet.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It was just weird.
Can y'all still see me?
We can still see you.
Can you feel me with these hands? Right.
Wait. No. Not yet.
Good, because I didn't consent to you touching me, so.
Oh!
Damn.
Wow.
That escalated.
Wow. By the way, like our pre-show?
Good morning.
What?
We're pre-show.
Said anything like, never mind, not gonna say it.
No, it's not. Anywho.
Yeah, I'm using a different pre-show graphic.
Yay! I like it.
Wait, what? Do I not know what's going on? Probably not.
I'm using a different pre-show graphic.
Oh, put that there, put that there.
I'm going through our new Tumblr followers, and the name of one of them came up, and I thought it said, "I like bacon and rape."
Oh my god.
I'm like, wait, what? And then I looked at it again. I like bacon and rope.
Oh. Oh, God. That's
okay.
That would be really awkward. I don't know if the other one, well, the other one's better, considering the alternatives.
Yeah. Okay.
Caffeine.
Did I not? I don't think I did. Oh, okay. I did list them. And then, oh. Is this the comment that he made? Yes. Okay. Close. Put that there. Put that there. Close. Done. Not dealing with that. All right. Scroll to the bottom. Already got that. Already got that. I guess I'm ready whenever y'all ready.
Oh, I didn't
Hold on. Yeah, I'm quickly Googling marshmallow challenge.
I Did you read the rest of the thread comments?
Not sure what I'm expecting.
I don't think it will.
I don't know. We'll figure it out later. Gary, quick question. What images did you use for our long sleeve t-shirts?
Great question. One moment, please. I used.
Let's say I'm making something new for the COL store.
No, that's fine. Well, this isn't really helpful. I believe it's in the drive. Cubs Out Loud PNG_3. It's the wording, and the O and out has the headshot.
Yeah. In the back?
Because
that
may not be
URL
to here.
Yeah, because it doesn't have the URL. Like, I have the other two elements, the long thing in the tagline, but not the URL.
No problem. I'll pull it down and really. So, random factoid. Probably about 2 years ago, I brought an external drive and never really hooked it up, which is going to seem weird, but it's my cloud, and it's connected to the internet. So anywhere that I'm connected to the internet, I can hit my external drive.
Nice.
So one of the things, though, is that now I'm trying to save everything to it, and then I have to go through extra steps to get shit. It's starting to become a little annoying. Just because I'm like, oh, I guess I now have to remember where the frig I'm hiding shit and go find it. All right. What did I call that? Nope, that's not it. I understand why I can see someone. Oh, there we go. You want the one. All right, so the one I used on the back of the shirt, because I can't remember, had the landscape, that's the tagline and the URL.
Yep.
Okay, this one. Okay, how the fuck do
I
I?
didn't know if you had them as 3 separate elements or just one big one or something.
No, it's one, but I can't figure out. See, well, all right. Any day now. There it is. Download. Show in folder.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll be ready.
That's what she said.
And for our group, that's what she said doesn't work as well.
I realized that as soon as I said it, and then I immediately thought of Courtney and Jade. So
No,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Just a sorry excuse. But anyways. To like try to make it work. Anyways. It should be in the art podcast logo, new V3 logo. I'm hoping it's the
There
right.
you go.
Yeah, it's yeah, that should be it. Yeah, check these messages. Reply there.
That makes putting this together a lot easier.
Good.
27. Screw that. Close that. Close that. That. Close that. Wow, okay. Can we change that? Okay, put that about there. And then let me try this. Hey, did my camera go away again?
Yep.
So, fuck you, Skype. When I type in chat, I shouldn't make my camera go away. The hell's that about?
Good question. I really don't know the answer.
Who is typing like a motherfucker?
That's me.
Boink. All right. That takes care of that. That takes care of that.
So basically, don't type in the Skype chat, is what you're saying, Gary, for you.
Apparently. I'll just have to go use Telegram or some other fucking thing.
Or just something else. Yeah. Or everything else. Just send us messages to everything and just that way.
That's
Growler, scruff.
Yeah. Like just like
Bear
I'm
Underground,
hungry. Boom, boom,
Bear
boom.
411. Like, that's what we need. We need one universal app that will message everything.
Oh my god, that would be
Hootsuite, kind of.
Well,
If you send something through Hootsuite, you can set it up to all sorts of different social media apps, but not texting.
Yeah. Because one of the things I've noticed in the past week that's annoying me is I follow people on Instagram. I don't really use Instagram, but when I go in, because someone requests to follow me, if I follow them and then I look in the feed, I'm like, oh, I've already seen that. 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 Because they're cross-feeding to Facebook or to Tumblr. And I'm like, I'm really starting to not see the point of this.
Well, if it's somebody like me, I post everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because not all of my followers follow me everywhere.
Well, tell them to get in line in the parade, you know? Well, good morning, Caden. I'm presuming it's Caden. I'm reading the chat.
Ah.
Well, hopefully your stomachache resolves itself
I know,
soon.
right?
Old school methodology when I grew up was crackers and Sprite.
Or ginger ale.
Yeah,
For us, it was crackers and ginger ale.
ginger ale came along later. For some reason, it was always actually it was 7-Up. It wasn't even Sprite.
Yeah. Same here.
It was saltines or oyster crackers.
Basically, clear carbonated beverages.
Yeah.
Oh, not even my mom it would have to go flat. Like it wasn't flat, but we would just yeah.
At that point, you probably could just use water. The only difference would be the flavor.
True. Well, in today's day and age, you could probably use Mio or some other stuff.
Use what?
Personally, Mio.
Squirty bottles.
The little flavor droplet
Oh.
crap that you add. That's supposed to be good for you. Yeah, I'm trying to think. That was kind of it back in the day. Oh, I sound so old now. Yay.
You did pronounce Kanan's name right.
Caden? Yes. All I did was go back to sleep. Ain't that the truth? I've done that many a time.
There you go. All right. I think it's time.
Yes.
Let's do this, some bitch. And this week, my audio actually works well.
Yay.
Because I fixed my settings. Anyways, here we go. It's January 7th, 2018. I'm Jeff, and I forgot to have my soundboard up.
Who's your bear? That's right. I am your bear.
I'm Damon.
I am Chester.
This room is a pigsty, and you're a dirty pig boy.
And that makes me Gary.
Don't hurt nobody with your bad self.
And welcome to Comes Out Loud, the Bear Podcast of Indeterminate Length, episode number 448. And I had a pitching good time this week. So, actually, it's been over a week since we last saw each other. Week and 2 days, I
This
think.
is true.
Yeah.
Because it was a week ago Friday.
Yes.
Oh,
we
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, we recorded New Year's Eve.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9.5 days-ish.
Not
Give or
too
take.
long. In that meantime, I finally watched Pitch Perfect 2.
Ah.
And I almost cried at the final performance.
But that's not the end.
I know there's a new one out, but anyways, it's beside the point. We did review the original movie. Steve and I did on COL Movies episode 121. Which one was it?
God, talk about old.
126. I'll link that later in the show. So if you guys want to listen to that, that was before all the video stuff, so it's all audio and such. Ray was moving at the time, so he wasn't joining us, but
On 8-track.
Oh, stop it!
it wasn't that long ago.
You got like Pitch Perfect came out like in the 70s. Come on.
Wait, hold up. Where am I? Damn.
So and
Really,
plus
Mitch? Dang.
remember I'm younger than all you bitches. Anyways.
That's my point.
So, I know Pitch Perfect 3 is out. Hey, but I haven't really had a chance to go see anything. I haven't been lazy to go out to any movies, so I didn't see another movie which came out that was kind of appropriate. In the meantime, I ended up like playing more games. I actually got back into Diablo a bit to try to work on finishing my season 12 journey on Wizard, but I haven't finished that yet. I got one more thing to go on that. I also, because it was like $7.49 on a Steam sale, bought Civilization 5 to be like, hey, what's all this Civ shit about? And I played that, and I still don't quite know it.
You've never played a Civ game?
Nope.
I'm shocked. Yeah, but Gary, I don't
Gary?
really consider you a gamer, though.
Gary,
I had a question. I thought maybe I'd ask for the audience what the hell you two were talking about.
Civilization, which is currently, I think, just released 6, I think it is, is a turn-based game strategy game where you try to grow your civilization, and you have to interact with other civilizations, and they base them off of famous people like America's George Washington is kind of the leader, and Queen Elizabeth, and King Ramsey or Pharaoh Ramses, and a couple other big civilizations. And so I was trying to do a science victory, which is basically get to the point where I launch a spaceship to Alpha Centauri.
Okay.
And I was going along and trying to get through this. I'm also trying to defend myself, and just, I was kind of turtling. And all of a sudden, it's like, you won! And I'm like, what? I didn't complete anything. I didn't conquer everybody. I didn't have the most popular diplomatic votes for diplomacy victory, whatever.
Well,
and I haven't launched a shuttle.
Is by one of those tracks. You don't have to do all of them.
Right, but I didn't complete any of them.
Well, no, you completed the science track.
No, I didn't.
If you got to Alpha Centauri,
I did not.
Science.
That's the thing that's what my goal was. But I didn't get to there. It just said I won, and it was a time victory.
Oh, okay.
I just lasted, apparently. So I'm like,
wait,
I
you can
get this.
Rewarded for lasting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
No, I'm just gonna let it go. It was just a stupid joke. Anyways.
Yeah, I think after 400 turns, it just kind of times out. So it's like, oh, everybody won. It's a draw.
Fuck you. We're through with this shit. Get the fuck out.
So I'm all confused on how Civ really works and how to do what I do and everything. So
nice.
If anything, hopefully everything's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine here. How are you? Damon?
So since we, Happy New Year. Hi, it's 2018 if you didn't realize that. So I had a very chill New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Normally in years past, Jim and I have gone somewhere, like gone to Indy or gone to Columbus or gone to Louisville. This year, we decided to stay in town. We couldn't really come up with the idea of where to go and what to do. So our friend provided us tickets to what's known as the Boarheads Festival here in the city. It's a traditional English Renaissance kind of Boar's Head Festival, which is mixed in with the story of the birth of Christ. So it's a very religious-ish theme, but not really. It's complicated. As I look at Gary's face, it's complicated, and it's hard for me to I'm very, very, very much paraphrasing. So, it's Gary has a question.
Is it like, and I don't know where this place is, there's a Jerusalem rebuilt town? Do you even know what I'm talking about? Like, there's a place you can go visit and walk the footsteps of Christ's life and interact with like the Roman centurions.
No, it's not.
Is this where they built that big ass ark?
No.
This is very different. Like, this thing's been around for a while, and it kind of cracks me up because someone did a spoof on it once. I think you'd have to search the internet to find it, but I'm pretty sure there's a really inappropriate YouTube video where someone spoofed it, and like Jesus is like doing a musical, and yeah.
Is it called Jesus Christ Superstar?
No, that would be the Andrew Lloyd Webber smash musical from the 70s that was my first musical I was ever like born to be addicted to. So
wow. So no, it's not anything like that. It's nothing like that at all. It's done here at a church here in the city. It's usually their gift to the city. They do it. They've been doing it for years. Like I'm talking years. I can't even remember how many. But anyway, a friend of ours was in it, and it was a good time. It's music and obviously some theatrics and costumes and stuff. So it's meant to be sort of fun, but not also religious in a sense. So that's what we did, and then we stayed home New Year's Eve because the weather was like, this was when for us here in Cincinnati when the temperatures were dropping to like the teens and zeros, and so we decided not to hit the road. We decided to stay home. We drank sparkling pink Moscato champagne to ring in the new year, which was nice. And then New Year's Day, we went to see The Greatest Showman, which was amazing. If you haven't seen my Facebook page, I'm in love with the movie now. Then we went to dinner with our friend, Ben, or Stick, and Rob, who were here. And yeah, like I said, pretty much very, very, very chill. Very relaxed. I'm glad I got to see the movie. There's another movie that, again, I'm wanting to see that I'll hopefully see soon. Chester?
As you can see, I have something on my face.
Yeah, you have a nice beard.
Actually, I can't.
Sorry, you're having technical difficulties.
I have to wait for the YouTube live feed to catch up to whatever it is you're referencing.
Well, it's the same thing. It's been there for a while.
Wake up, Pearl.
I've been wearing corrective lenses for 20-some years. Every once in a while, I'll get glasses, but they're mostly just because my prescription changes. And I'll get them, and I'll keep them in the house, but I never wear them unless I'm just not, if I wake up and put my glasses on and I just don't feel like dealing with my contacts. But about a week ago, I went and picked up new glasses, and I've worn them every day since. So I'm trying to give wearing glasses all the time a try instead of always wearing contacts.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's been It's been okay. I walked into Club Diversity the other night for a Trident meeting, and I walked right up to Joe and Dane, and neither one of them recognized me at first. So that was kind of funny. Because they're like,
right.
oh, I didn't even see you there, and you've been standing there for like 3 minutes.
All right, no, I'm not. No. I'm not buying that the glasses change you that much. Your height doesn't change. Your hair hasn't really changed.
You'd be surprised.
But
like, as someone who wears glasses all the time, it's always weird when I don't wear my glasses. Like, yeah. I get that you get the same thing, and I know it's hard to think about, but it is. Like, it's like, when you wear them, they're a part of your face, and when you don't wear them, they're not a part of your face. So when you wear them, it's like, who the fuck is that? Yes, it's you, and you know it's you. But if you've seen Chester's face or seen someone's face without glasses for so long, and that's how you've known them, suddenly something that's the glasses are pretty decently sized, and they're not. Like, these are my at-home glasses, so they're very thin and small, and they're not like, they're definitely different. They change the shape of your face, and if you're not paying attention, you may not recognize the person.
Yeah, see, like me with glasses on,
mm-hmm.
me with glasses off.
Who the fuck is that?
I know. It's like so. That whole thing where like the difference between Superman and Clark Kent is the only difference is really his glasses.
Well, then
that's how he was able to hide so hair. Well.
And the hair.
Yeah, I think he did a little hair change. Yeah.
All right, now I completely disagree. We grew up in the age where everybody knows who the fuck Superman and Clark Kent are. We're not like just lay people in fucking Metropolis that have no goddamn clue what the hell's going on.
Here's the thing is, we do, but not the people in Metropolis, okay? That's what I'm referring to. The relationship between Clark Kent and Superman to the people of Metropolis is the same as somebody else in the real world between glasses and no glasses.
Yeah, anyway, so sorry. Go ahead, Chester.
I finally got around to pledging with Trident, so they kind of did their little spiel last Wednesday, I think it was. But I will be voted in as an associate member next Trident meeting, so that's fun. It'll be my first formal leather group outside of a puppy play group.
Yay.
So you already know this ahead of time? Like they told you?
Yeah, everybody knows me enough there to. It's a formality.
Yeah, for a lot of leather groups, yes, there's pledge periods depending on the group where you're pledging for so long and then you eventually get accepted. Like most of the time, unless you do something absolutely like fucking horrible, you're gonna get in. But there are very rare occasions where someone is not accepted.
Like I've been going to enough Trident events that people know who I am. It's just never. I've never gone through the formality of saying, "I want to be a Trident member. Here is my application."
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that until just now.
Oh, I guess I was thinking it was a little more, on the.
Well,
I don't know how to say this.
Fraternity.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a fraternal order.
Yeah, you are correct. Some places are a little bit more stringent, like Hellfire Club in Chicago. They have really strict rules about pledging and having people support your pledge, and you've got to be there X amount of time. Yeah. It's the same thing here. They're just not going to let anybody show up and become a member. You've got to put in your dues. It's just, in my case, I've been kind of already doing it without actually knowing that I've been doing it.
Yeah. So he's kind of getting in. I would say, I guess, since you're saying you're an associate, he's kind of getting in by association.
Well, yeah, it's just the difference between associate and a full member is I don't get to vote.
Yeah.
Like when they're talking about things and people need to vote on whatever subject it is that they're talking about, I don't get to vote.
Do you get to speak, like
I
to
can-
provide
yes.
your
Yep.
thoughts and stuff?
Yep. Me raising my hand does not count in a vote. That's
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I get it. So you're associating as opposed to inserting. All right.
God.
And then lastly, last night I went with a bunch of people from Trident, including Burlick and Dozer, and about 150 other people, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And we went to the new Tom of Finland movie viewing. And
Fucker.
it was... they were showing it at the Wexner Center for Arts on OSU, which is pretty great. I'd never been in there. Walking in there and seeing all the other stuff that they're going to have on there. They're doing a Paris is Burning viewing, which is kind of cool. So maybe y'all could come to Columbus for that.
When?
February 3rd.
Looks at the calendar. It's a Saturday. Okay. Maybe.
But yeah, it was. I had no previous expectations on what the movie was going to be like. I had no idea what the movie was going to be about. So I know who Tom of Finland is. I don't know if the movie was a documentary, like this is how he created his art, or if this was a documentary on this was his life. In that aspect, I didn't know what the movie was going to be about.
Do you remember me talking about it?
Do you remember us talking about it?
No.
We had an episode on it.
Because we did a show.
Maybe he was he not
on
the episode?
Yeah,
I don't
look it
think
up
I
with
was
the Matrix.
Present for that episode.
Well, that would explain why I'm so confused, because I'm like, how the fuck do you not know what the show is? Now you can understand why I'm jelly of the fact that you went to a sold out like theater full of leather people to go see Tom of Finland, because it was back in October, I think, or September. I was like, hey, this is coming stateside. You know, it's going to make the circuit for the film festival. I'm kind of interested and excited by the whole idea and stuff. And I thought you were on that episode. Anyways.
I'm curious now.
But if you are the type of person like me that doesn't want to know anything about it, you know, you can like mute me for the next 30 seconds or whatever. But
spoiler alert.
But again, me going into it, I didn't know what kind of movie it was going to be, like the genre of movie. So it's a biographical documentary of Tom of Finland, Tuukko Laaksonen. I think that's how you say his name, also known as Tom of Finland. It spans his life journey from serving in the Finnish military during World War II all the way up to him publishing his sketches and artistic drawings in a very large book. And it kind of ends-ish with him being on stage at IML. And I don't know the specific year because they never once put a year stamp, like a title screen of when something was happening. You kind of just figured it out by the events that were going on and the scenery and whatever. So there is one point where you can tell that they're in some type of contest venue with lots of Leathermen. And I remember leaning over to Dane and saying, I bet you that's IML. And then there was another shot where it was pulled back and there was a big International Mr. Leather banner up above them. But again, I don't know a specific year. It was definitely the 80s. I just don't know which year. And the whole thing was the climax of the movie was him inspiring gay culture to be more comfortable with being themselves and owning up to them being homosexual men in public.
Okay, so since I haven't seen the movie, quick question. Do you think the movie helped show or explain why gay culture took on this decision to follow what he was personifying? Like, I know this is going to be a weird thing. It's kind of like a chasing a tail thing, because as an artist, he was, in theory, showing what he saw in the world. But I think there was more imagination into what he was doing as opposed to literally seeing everything that he did as art. Does that make sense?
Sort of. Well, he was in the military,
right?
And his initial drawings started out with male uniforms because there was, cruising going on, like Pickle Park cruising.
Okay.
That's like the opening scene of the movie is with that. And his initial drawings are with military-inspired sketches. And eventually they morphed into motorcycle. And there was very much a leather presence of motorcycle. And that was kind of a big thing because you see him he walked into some shop with motorcycle gear, like leathers, and bought some. And then he was trying it on and modeling. And then it just kind of evolved into this other thing of... And I guess in a way people were doing drag. There was a part in the movie where this guy would hold poker parties and people would show up in like head to toe cosplay of whatever it was that they were into, whether it was Navy uniforms or Army uniforms or full motorcycle gear. There was, actual cross-dressing going on as well. Some guys were in sports gear. And that's where he drew from in his sketches is these different types of uniforms. And then it just kind of snowballed more and more the more people seen it and had more attention. And then it became international and hit San Francisco and Los Angeles. And
ooh, okay, so this just popped in my head, and this is going to be a bit controversial. Shocking. Do you think gay male culture actually turned into cosplay of Tom of Finland for a time?
Yes, and I still think it does.
Because that just occurred to me that that's what it feels like. What you're describing is people see it as an art and like it, and therefore they want to personify it. So then they and then they imitate it, which to me is what cosplay is about. I mean, they see it and then they decide to do that. But I don't think people
have no doubt that any Leatherman who has seen Tom of Finland wants to emulate that. And even if they haven't seen Tom of Finland, I mean, in general, not the movie specifically, but even if they haven't, they want to emulate those people that they're seeing because they find an attraction to it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to me because I never thought of it that way. Because I think people don't consider leather cosplay, just like I know people don't think of leather as drag. But when you use the concept of how we choose to be seen in the world is drag, just purely as a simplistic definition, then yes, everything you wear, no matter what you do, is a form of that. So whether you're into uniforms, sports, you know what I mean, rugby kits, all that kind of jazz, or, full leather, high cow, whatever, it's all part of that. So it's very interesting because I never really thought of it from that standpoint.
Yeah.
So I take it you like the movie.
Oh, the movie was great. My only criticism is it had a very abrupt ending, so to speak. The entire movie had this... did you guys see Moonlight?
No.
With the African-American kid who grew up being gay and... Oh, well, watch that. It was a good movie too. It had this really great story arc that just kept building and building and building, and then all of a sudden at the end, this one thing happened, and that was it.
Huh.
Like that was the end of the movie.
a climax but didn't have a denouement.
I don't know what that is.
A Damon
But yeah,
what?
Denouement. It's when in a story you hit the climax, the peak of the story, and then kind of like the after effect is the kind of downflow to the end.
So there's a climax with an
denouement.
afterglow.
Essentially,
yeah, it
haven't heard of a denouement?
No, I'm feeling very like out of my element.
It's a
considering
it's a writing tool. There's a diagram for how you write, and it's all one of the things is that there's this denouement moment before the ending.
It's not like you hit a climax and that's the end.
Yeah,
and that's it. Then
it's
roll
a
credits.
wrap up of it.
It's you hit the climax and that kind of like after effect. You think Breakfast Club and the ending scene where everybody's leaving the school is the denouement of that show.
Oh, so okay. So in other words, a denouement is closure.
Epilogue, you could also almost say too.
Right. Like, so you have some understanding of what happened next, as opposed to, all right, you had an orgasm and then like that's it. Like you don't get to see them throw the wet like towel at them to clean up, or tell them to get the fuck out, or the cuddle, or any of that.
Right.
So the movie you're saying, Chester, Tom of Finland, just ends abruptly. Like,
Yeah, it there were two things that happened right at the end, and they were kind of overlapping with each other. Both of them happened, and then it was like
Roll
done.
credits.
Yeah, there was like maybe 20 more seconds of the film after that, and then done. And it was like, oh, it's over. Well, good for him.
got it.
But I do recommend going to see it, even if you are not into the look of Tom of Finland, or if you are not a Leatherman, at least for going to get a sense of your gay history and how part of it formed.
Good to know.
That and Lifelong Companion.
And stars.
We can list. We can do. We can list
No,
movies till the end of the day. We should probably move on.
Yeah, Gary, what's been going on with you?
all right. So for those of you that are friends with me on Facebook, you will have seen what was it, late Friday night into Saturday morning, I posted something called "Pulling Back the Curtain," which was supposed to basically say, "Hey, here's." What? No.
Every time that post comes up and I see that pulling back the curtain, I think foreskin. I'm sorry.
Why? Why? Why?
Pulling back the curtain.
No, I've never heard that saying. Like, in terms of foreskin, I'm so confused by this concept.
Anywho.
Have I entered an alternate, like, universe reality?
No.
Is that
Look,
what's happening in my life?
You made some sexual jokes when Chester was talking. Now he's going to make some sexual jokes while you're talking. Anyways, moving on.
Right, but I normally can follow all of this stuff. There's two references now in one show that I'm completely lost on, so maybe I'm no longer as smart as I thought I used to be. Anyways. That was meant to be a joke. In case anybody listening or watching is like, what the fuck? Anyways, so here's what has happened. Because I want to like kind of put some clearing in the air. I'll start with the end and then kind of work backwards. I was let go from my job. Now, well, and so here's the thing to backtrack it a little bit. And this isn't trying to make it better, but it's the reality. It was not just me, and it was not performance based. The company let go a mass of people. Due to the signing of paperwork, I can't really talk about details, which is annoying because I've got like I think it's a 24-month like silence,
non-disclosure agreement.
NDA.
Well, yeah, it's not really an NDA, but it's written into the paper. So I just the post was basically to say, here's what's happened, and I want to apologize for my behavior over the past couple of weeks because I've been trying to sort out my thoughts and stuff in terms of the situation. And the reason why is that the line of work that I've done started on a journey back in 2000. So off and on over the course of 17 and a half years, I was with the company probably close to 14 because I spent a couple summers working at the campground resort. So it's just one of these like, oh, okay, I don't have that anymore and I don't know what I'm going to do next. So it's been a thing kind of sorting out what I want to do and what I can do or that kind of thing. Now, what's interesting is since I put that post into Facebook, I tagged a whole bunch of people that I've worked with through the original company before it was sold. And what I find interesting is a couple of people reached out to me and were like, hey, I know your work ethic and what you've done, what your skills are. Here's some possibilities. One person actually legitimately offered-ish. I don't know if they could actually do this. They were like, hey, I could use a person like you. If you're interested, let me know.
Nice.
Which is, I don't know, weird to me because I wasn't expecting that. A good friend of mine reached out, sent me a private message, and really surprised me with a very touching message about how they understand like that this is kind of like rocking my world a little bit, but of the people that they know, I'm one of the people that they think that they were giving me back what I've told other people, like this is but a moment and it's not going to be the definition of your life, which I basically know because I've been, to clarify, this isn't the first job I've been let go from. This is the first job that I've basically been downsized from. So it's different when you are let go for, I want to say, legitimate or non-legitimate reasons, because there's both ways, whether you agree or disagree with the reason that you no longer have a job. But this is different where it has nothing to do with you personally. It is purely a business decision, to the point of, to help explain, they eliminated my entire department.
Wow.
That happened to me twice.
From the vice president all the way down.
Wow.
Right. So it's purely a financial situation. This is my personal opinion about it, is the way that it's been kind of come across to me, some stuff. And I'm like, and I still don't understand it. I was in the middle of working on projects. Yeah. And like, so now I feel like I just abandoned a bunch of stuff and it's not the way I do things. I don't walk away from stuff when I'm that, up to my neck in things. And the stuff is that I was working on stuff, unfortunately, kind of in a solo way. So there wasn't anybody that was aware
behind you to know what to do,
or those that were part of the team. So it's been very, very interesting. So I have a lot of time available to me. I will fully own that I have been super not motivated to do anything a whole lot. Well, I've been, it's kind of been like a really weird extended vacation, but it's got to stop. I've got to get my act together. I need to stop staying up very late at night and sleeping in and eating everything in sight. Because it's just this weird kind of like, depressive mood thing that I've been going through. So,
hey, welcome to me for the past 6 months.
Anyway, move on.
Welcome to me every 12 months lately.
Yeah. Well, and so I guess in a way, you guys bring up a good point. I want to apologize to anybody that like has been going through like a job struggle situation for employment, finding a new job, whether they're unemployed or not. And I've never intended to be like passive about it or not seem like I care or understand what that situation's like, because I will own I've had a job for quite a long time and presumed I was going to have it for a little while. I'm not foolish about it. They've slowly the new employer, they've been outsourcing. This is what it comes down to. I've been telling people businesses are, if they have investors or they have stock or whatever, they're trying to make their value increase. And one of the ways you do that is you reduce costs. And one thing that's been happening quite a bit, and people are agreeing with me because other people have reached out once they've seen it on Facebook, they're like, hey, I've been through the same thing. Yes, it sucks. They're like, yeah, like they're basically taking and they're finding cheaper labor that can do the same thing.
That is exactly what it comes down to. I don't know how many people have told me so far. They're like, they're not going to pay you because you have a degree. Even though they're requesting you have a degree. But because you have it, they're going to find somebody cheaper.
Well, and here's the really odd thing that I'm being told a little bit now, which is cracking me up. Now that I no longer work for the company, a lot of people who already left the company are kind of like, this isn't really what's happening, but I feel like, oh, now he's one of us. like you're no longer working for them, so now you're like released, almost like it was like a magical spell or something. I don't know. Nice. But one of the things, as I've been told over the years, is the job that I've been doing, I've been underpaid for. And so now I'm starting to look online for positions like what I do. And I am finding that, yes, I was not being necessarily paid the salary that other people get paid for this job, which is disturbing slightly because I'm like, oh, okay, I could have been making more.
Maybe you should have been kind of looking to begin earlier.
Well, and I'll be honest, like I became incredibly comfortable with with the transition that happened, that going into a building to working from home. But that's also like, as a former coworker who actually moved from here to another city, she reached out and she was like, hey, I get the impression from your posts about your mom and your dad, you're not really able to move. But if you come to the city, my company is great, and I think there's an opportunity here. And I very much appreciate that she said that. But I replied back and I was like, you are correct. I am kind of what my friends and I are calling geo-locked. I'm an only child. My parents are both disabled and older, and they're not in a capacity that I feel comfortable leaving them. And I don't want to say abandoned, but if I'm not here or nearby. So, some people are like, oh, well, there's great opportunities, and some positions pay really well and there's a lot of travel. And it's like, yeah, well, the travel thing may or may not work.
There's going to be some things you're going to have to make decisions on, and there's going to based on your life and what you have to do. And granted, there are obviously other factors that have to go into play. So
no, it's pretty interesting. And now it kind of shifts a whole lot of stuff for me, because it's a matter of, oh, well, so now I got to look at the calendar. I got to figure out what's happening with some stuff. Interestingly, so I did get, I'm not going to discuss the details, but I did get, offered a severance package. And people sometimes think like, oh, well, that helps, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to read all the fine details. Right. And how that happens. And the timeline is not matching to what I thought it was. So as much as I know of, there's nothing really changing for me in terms of some stuff. Like, I'm still planning to go to NAB. I have a couple other commitments lined up that I was already planning on doing. Obviously, I've got Dredge Fur to focus on. It'll be interesting. And it's weird because now that I have free time, so Chester's like, oh, come down and see blah blah blah. And there's part of me that's like, hell yeah, I could do that because I'm not doing anything else. And then there's another part of me that's probably the more like responsible part that's like, one, do you have the money? Can you afford?
Do you have the budget?
Yeah. And some other stuff. So
yeah.
But if any of y'all like have some free time available and you want to come, all right, I really shouldn't say this on the podcast, I just realized, because I'm not inviting the whole world. Let's put a little pin in that. For any of you that know me personally and would like to spend some time together, I'm not working, so
you got some time.
Nice.
I will say this: if I was a gaming person and I had gaming consoles, I probably would be doing a fuck ton of that right now. But I don't, which is a good thing, because I got some other stuff that I need to do. Like, I've started thinking, I'm like, oh, I should probably kind of, focus on home and clean up some stuff in that. But it's been really weird because, oh, that's right, Mother Nature has really been kind of fucking around.
Yeah.
Up here. So, like I kind of said on the last show, like there was a second wave of the snowstorm. I left and went to Pittsburgh for New Year's, came back. So today, believe it or not, it's almost double digits.
What?
Wow.
I know.
The negative or the positive?
No, to the positive.
No, I'm just saying that because that was a me the other day. The other day I saw this meme pop up, and all it was a tweet that said something like double digits weather would be nice, and then he screenshotted the thermometer. It was like -14. He's like, fuck you, Mother Nature, that's not what I meant.
Oh.
I don't know. 62 degrees is fine by me.
Well, here's the thing is that it's been single digits with wind chill in the negative. Like, we've been under a watch for 3 or 4 days with notices that skin exposure more than 30 minutes is going to be immediate frostbite.
Look.
So that's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily we have some sun today. I mean, it's this weird kind of thing. And so this week it's supposed to get up above freezing. So I'm more concerned about the fact that I have huge amounts of snow and ice overhanging my place that I would like, okay, it's going to melt, but I don't want it to
By the way, just to make everybody feel better, it is 17 degrees here.
17?
Yes, Celsius.
I knew that.
Shut up, bitch.
Yeah.
Get out.
Saw that.
Get out.
Ooh.
So to tie in adjacently to today's topic about shutdowns, I got shut down in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have that position, and I'll be honest, there's a part of me that kind of misses it. Like, I'm reassessing a little bit. Like, a friend of mine knows one of my big pipe dreams and was like, my bestie was like, maybe you should consider pursuing that. To which I was quite humored because I was like, yeah, I don't have the capital to start that business to do that thing. So that's still going to kind of hold off and wait. But we shall see what happens.
Maybe this is more reason why we should probably start a Patreon. Maybe I could pay everybody. But that's another matter altogether.
Speaking of
supporting the show.
Our supporters, yeah.
Now, whoever thought we'd be doing commercials?
I know I sure as heck didn't.
Being that we're a smaller scale podcast, we don't have advertisers knocking down our door to give us money, and that's okay.
Which is why we want to take a moment and tell you about 2 really great ways you can support Cubs Out Loud.
Over the past 9 years, COL has produced hundreds of audio episodes, and now we have matching video episodes for you to enjoy.
This year, we introduced the new COL logo and launched our new merch store over at Zazzle.com/CubsOutLoud.
Or you can also use the COL merchandise link on our podcast website to pull up the online store.
Here you can take a look through a range of products, including t-shirts, hats, poker chips, underwear, backpacks, and various other things with the COL logo on them.
And keep an eye out for new things to be added based on your interests and requests.
We typically can be found showing these great items off in the video stream of our shows.
Also, to help with our new format, we're doing YouTube video shows that help create the audio version. We have a GoFundMe campaign underway at gofundme.com/COLstream.
This campaign allows us to afford upgrading the PC that Jeff uses to produce our shows. Plus, a better computer means better quality streams.
And thanks in advance for not only listening to Cubs Out Loud, but helping support the podcasts too.
Guess what, folks? We got a new shirt on the store!
Yay!
A long sleeve shirt, which I'm wearing, that Gary got us for Christmas. You can
thanks, Santa Gary.
You can get that on the store now. It's the alternative shirt. I've set it up just as it is a light shirt only because when I looked at it in the dark colors, it didn't look so well. So limited in what colors you can get with it, but hey. And now I would point out that Gary happens to be wearing a hat with the Cubs Out Loud logo. The only thing is, I don't think they have hats in stock right now.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check. Oh no, they're back. No, they're out of stock.
They're in, then they're out.
So, yeah, it says this product is sold out for all types of the hat. So, unfortunately, folks, you cannot get a Cubs Out Loud hat at this time. Sad face.
Gary got the last one.
I did not. I bought that son of a bitch months ago.
I'm kidding.
Please.
I mean, I suppose there's the other types of hats, but I don't like those types of hats. There's like the ones which aren't embroidered that have the trucker hat sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do they come in children's sizes? Because that's the only hats I can wear.
You have a really small head?
What?
Yes.
Oh, maybe. Or they're adjustable.
No, they need to be kids' hats.
Oh,
Interesting.
weird.
Moving right along.
Yeah. That's doing this. Gary, what's been going on over in Facebook land?
Stuff.
Some stuff.
No, just we got some new likes from folks, so we would like to thank the following individuals for liking us on Facebook. Jody Bowie. I think it's Jody Bowie. Not really sure. The letter spelling is throwing me off. Jason Fozzie Nelson, John Sean Sullivan, and Nathan Dill. So thank you. And then I think that takes us to Chester. What's going on over in Twitter land?
We have a couple new followers. Bear by the Pool. That's by as in B-I.
Cute.
Jen Kuna. Hypoid Bear. And The Growling Bear. And then we do have some new Tumblr followers. Swifty Cub 90. Okie Cub. Bearvania. Mature. Verity Bear?
Yeah.
Okay. And Furry Bear Rift. There was also a message in our inbox from Curves and Crevices. Just wanted to send Happy New Year's wishes to the hosts at COL. I know you don't know us listeners, but through the magic of podcasting, you are all like friends, keeping us company through chores and commutes. Thank you for being awesome people and for putting your time and effort into a wonderful show that makes our weeks brighter. May 2018 be everything you need it to be. Lots of love. So thank you for that message.
Thank you. It's very sweet.
And,
So-
go on.
No, I was just going to be silly and say, I was reading the message and I was like, May 2018? What the hell's happening in May of 2018?
Oh,
Never mind.
Maybe that's a special month. And a huge thanks to Tubbs in the UK for doing fan art sketches of all of us hosts at COL.
yes.
He's been doing several sketches here and there, and he's been sending them to our Twitter, and we've been retweeting them. So if you'd like to check those out, make sure you follow us on Twitter, and you will see those images. Also, I've been, with his permission, I've been downloading them and posting them to our Tumblr as well as Instagram.
Sweet.
So
And
thank
honestly,
you,
he's
Tubbs,
been-
for doing that.
He's been sending them privately to me on Tumblr all this time.
Cool.
Yeah,
haven't
he's
seen
sent
them
me
first.
some too.
Cool.
Oh. Anyways, let that go.
It's probably because Jeff and I talked to him outside of the show.
No, that's fine. Just, anyways.
You're jealous, aren't you?
No, that's not it at all. I was gonna make some really, silly comment about a budding romance or I don't know, long distance infatuation thing or something.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
And yeah, so time to move into our topic.
Yeah, okay, so this stems from 2 shows ago, maybe? As a we're sort of a sidebar within the show when we were recording about Basically, what we called today was, shutdowns in IRL, in real life, versus online, about how people behave when they're like in your face versus not anywhere near you. And what it made me think about is like cruise culture has vastly changed. Like, so for instance, Chester was talking about the Tom of Finland movie and how when you cruised before there was really anything known as gay culture, as we call it today, it was just men hooking up with men. Now, technically, that is still happening today, but the landscape has changed tremendously due to culture, technology, and that kind of stuff. And it made me think about how people have all sorts of different reactions to whether or not they get a response, especially in the virtual technology world. That's what I find interesting is I see a lot of individuals probably close to my age saying like, oh, well, you wouldn't behave that way if we were, IRL, meaning if I'm in a bar and I come over and I pay you a compliment or try to engage you in a conversation or whatever, it's highly doubtful that you will be rude to me straight to my face and shut me down in a way like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking to you, talk to the hand.
Blocked.
Right. And you probably wouldn't say directly to the person like, oh, I'm not into fat guys. Or do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that I find very interesting about this concept is that people feel the anonymity of technology, and I'll phrase it that way, gives them license to be more bold, more honest, more
of a dick.
Yeah.
You're right. No, being online and having that anonymity and that disconnection of being there in person, having distance, allows people to express a wider range of emotions, whether it's good, where they're being honest and truthful and nice, or bad, where they're just being a dick and an asshole and arrogant.
Do you think that has changed IRL culture though? Like, do we think that it's going to carry in the opposite? Because I think our group, like our demographic of age, being 30s and 40s, would not. We take our day-to-day interpersonal behaviors and put them online, which is why I think we're having this conversation. We're talking about how in an app I would not shut somebody down and be like fuck you, I'm not interested because you're too fat or you're too skinny or you're too hairy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we would probably not say anything or find a different way to say I'm just not interested or you're not my type or something like that. Like, we would probably be, I guess what we would say is polite about it as opposed to blunt.
I believe that when I am online in an app or Facebook or Growler or whatever, and somebody is coming at me and giving me compliments and wanting to get with me, I know for myself, the first thing I do is I look at their picture because, I'll be honest, I'm shallow. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. That when they say something like looks are so shallow. Bullshit. Sure, you can fall in love with somebody based on the type of person they are, but if all you're doing is wanting to know if they get your gears turning, you're looking at what they look like. Obviously, that doesn't speak for everybody because, people that are asexual don't kind of fit into that group. But for the most part, everybody is shallow to some degree.
Sure.
So I look at their picture, and if they get a pass or fail from me on their looks, then I look at their location. Oh, hey, they're within the state, or they're in a city that I travel to, or something to tell me to continue to look at their profile. If I pull up somebody's profile and they're in Istanbul, I kind of don't bother reading the rest because I'm like, this person doesn't have any interest for me. I'm not going there. He's not coming here. I don't care what he looks like. We're not meeting. from that point, I will continue on to the rest of their profile, and hopefully they have some type of text like describing the type of person they are, because I'm looking for keywords to, like trigger me in some way, either a positive or a negative. If I look and I see something positive, like they're into BDSM, okay, great. But if they have something like no fats, no femmes, okay, nope, you're done and gone.
Yeah. It's a very interesting concept. The idea of like online profiles and everything else, to me, has always been, I agree with you, Gary. Like, some of us have things that have kind of carried over from our in real life, quote unquote, choices and decisions we make, and then carried over online. I've noticed, just for example, my profile tends to be a lot more descriptive in a sense. It gives what I'm into. It says that I've partnered. It gives just a little bit more information than the younger person's profile that I've seen, especially recently, where they just kind of throw little bits and pieces of something out there to kind of make something stick. Like, on the flip of that, however, I have noticed that a lot of younger guys know what they want, and they're not going to mince words. Like, they say, I want this, or I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking for a boyfriend, I'm looking for a fuck buddy, I'm looking for this and that. And that's, it. And they know what they want, and they put that out there, and if they, that's kind of it. Like, granted, I don't know if that means when they're talking with someone or chatting with someone, if they don't have more of a conversation, but at least with their profile alone, they are saying most of them are saying what they want. And therefore, if I'm looking at your profile and you say you're looking for a boyfriend, no offense, I've got a partner, so I don't really need a boyfriend. So if you're saying you want a boyfriend, then I'm not going to talk to you, because I'm not going to be, at least as far as I know, I'm not going to be interested in anything beyond a friendship with you, because you seem to have more than just, I want a friendship, I want to hook up mentality on your profile. So,
right.
Go ahead.
Can we be clear about the intention of our subject matter today? Like, are we talking about how people act online versus how they act in person? Is that like specific to what we're talking about? Because if that's the case, I will agree with you, Damon, that there are plenty of people that act one way. They are very upfront about what they want online. I am one of those people that I'm upfront and I put that kind of stuff on profiles. But when I'm in person, like Gary was saying, when you are in person with somebody, you might not become a different person. You still want the same thing, but all of a sudden other factors come into play.
Yeah. You don't want to hurt someone's feelings that's right in front of you. It's
right.
One of my usual things. I know for me, it doesn't happen all that often, but if someone were to come to me and they're very interested in me in person, if I'm not interested, I'm going to still attempt to have something of a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Chester, you're asking the question about, what the focus is that we're talking about. I think what people are having a struggle with a little bit is the disconnect or the schism, like the what seems like a passive aggressiveness, like how a person behaves in real life when they interact with you, when they see you, is not how they behave with you online, meaning like how they communicate. So I will own, like, people send me messages and they woof, grr, compliment, this and that, request to see, adult version pics of me or whatever. And I'm more in the camp of, and I know that this is like, if Adrian was to hear this, it would piss him off. It's like, if I'm not interested, I just kind of don't reply. Like, and then, yes, that's dynamically different than if we were in person. If you were to show interest in me in person, I have no choice but to deal with you.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like for
because
me,
because you're right there.
Yeah,
like I don't want to be that
whole,
rude
like,
and just walk away.
I am in that camp of, if I send somebody a compliment, and I'll be fair that I don't know that everybody sees it.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that if you have an app installed, you're going to see the message. But it's very hard for me to say to myself, it is possible that that person didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I send somebody a message and then I look in my who has viewed my profile, and it said that that person I sent that message to viewed my profile, that's a pretty clear-cut signal that says they read my compliment and they have chosen not to acknowledge the compliment and thank me for it. And to me, I think that kind of makes that person an asshole.
Okay.
I'm not saying that the person has to, engage in a conversation with me, but at least acknowledge that that person complimented you, say thank you, and leave it at that.
All right, but that's where I think the problem lies, is the leaving it at that. My behavior, I think, is developed or cultured over years of, I grew tired of responding to people who wanted to continue the conversation. I don't want to have a conversation. You paid me a compliment. I thanked you. We're done. But because I thanked you for it, you think that's a door opening opportunity. And now you want to continue to compliment further. You want to talk about what you want to do, how you want to hook up. And I have no interest in that.
Yeah.
And because I'm a polite individual, I don't say thank you and buzz off, or I'm not, you know what I mean? Like thank you for the compliment, even though I don't care about you. I'm not interested in you. I mean, like, whatever version you want to say, it could be nice or not.
So I have done a few things in the past. One of the things I will say is and it's one of my biggest issues, is what you're talking about, both of you, is the whole, like, you give a compliment and then you don't hear anything. It kind of really sucks. Like, overall, like even a simple thank you is for me is enough.
It's because you're left in the open, and that's one of the biggest problems that people face when somebody talks about why are you depressed. It all comes down to the same thing. I need to feel validated.
Yeah.
I need to feel like I am visible. And to me, that's a clear-cut sign. That's a clear message saying, I've sent you a compliment, but you don't want to accept it, and therefore you don't see me. And it makes me feel like shit.
Yeah. So, what I have done, and I've been doing, especially recently, there are two things, and there are two, like, there's a universal one that seems to be, I've noticed a lot more frequently. It's a 2-word statement that sort of usually 9 times out of 10 ceases all conversation. Instead of saying thank you, you say thanks, man. Period. And I have noticed, because I used to say it, even if I really liked a person, I used to say it, and then I wouldn't hear from him, and I'd be like, what the fuck's going on? Thanks, man has somehow become this universal decline of thank you for the compliment, but I am not interested, is what it's pretty much all it's saying. Is thanks, man is like for whatever reason, a universal, like, you're responding, but you're telling that person that you do not want to speak anymore with that person. Now,
that's how I would accept that message.
Yeah, and I've seen that. Now, for me, the other one that I tend to use is I do actually say, depending on what the compliment is, we have the growler ones that are kind of the growls that are pretty pre-made, and you've got a few other places to have some, like, woofs and whatever. I will actually say, thank you, I appreciate the compliment, but I'm not interested. I will actually put it out there, point blank, without any I'm not going to mince any more words, because I used to be that person that would, even when I wasn't interested, I would thank them and say something and just leave. And then I would, like you, Gary, would say, I'm getting these conversations with people and I don't want to be, I know where this is going and I don't want to have this conversation with you. So I started saying, thanks, or I appreciate the compliment, but I am not interested, and I've left it at that. And the main reason I have started doing that is I feel I'm being polite. It may not be the next way. There is a part of me that doesn't. I think I'm being polite. Maybe I'm not. But I am pretty much, to be frank, shutting down any further conversation by me telling them that I am not interested. And what that interest means is maybe vague, but I'm not interested in continuing the conversation, is what I'm pretty much telling that person. Now, usually that stops it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I deal with the fallout of that sort of shutdown. You get the whole, well, you don't even know what I was going to be interested in, and actually that's not true. So. Oh,
see, I don't get that type of response.
No, I have, and here's the thing: if I'm like, in a sense, I'm like you, Chester, in that I will look at your profile and read what you say. If your profile is nothing but I want to have sex, if I'm not sexually attracted to you, then I'm going to tell you I'm not interested. And the reason I'm not interested is I'm reading your profile and all you want to do is have sex, and I know I'm not going to be sexually attracted to you. You're not my type. So I am politely telling you I'm not interested. I know what you want based on what you have said in your profile, and I know what I want based on what I say in my profile. And these two things aren't going to mesh, or I'm not that interested in you or attracted to you. And I'd rather say that than deal with the trying to have a conversation with someone who I'm clearly not interested in. And if they come back with, I want to, do this and I want to do that with you, I'm like, well, no, I don't want to do any of that. I don't block often. And I will say that I don't do online blocking often. The only time I ever do is when people just don't get it, or they are kind of dicks to me. But if people just don't get that I am not interested, I have said I'm not interested, I appreciate your interest, but we're not going to match, we're not a match, then if they can't get that, then I'm sorry, but I'm blocking you. And I know that sucks, but you've clearly not gotten the point. I have made it pretty clear, I think. And if you can't get over the fact that someone doesn't like you, that's not my problem, that's yours.
Yeah, when somebody sends me a message, say on Growler or even Facebook, and they're making an advance in a sexual manner, after I've gone through and decided if, they do my own personal pass-fail checks, I typically will send them one of two messages. It's either a polite thank you, but I'm not interested, or a thank you, here is a compliment back, and now I have volleyed it back to you, and you pick up the conversation.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's especially online. It's just going to be a cup of not everyone's cup of tea, and you're dealing with essentially your profile being everywhere.
Right. Like, I mean, I'm looking at messages right now because I'm thinking about what we're talking about. And so, like, because I was in a new place for New Year's, I was getting a bunch of guys that were hitting me up, which is,
you were fresh meat.
Yes. So, but the thing is that, like, now I'm actually crafting a response to some people because I kept getting comments like, oh, like, I want to smoke cigars with you. I want to suck you off while you smoke a cigar. Like, I think it's hot and you would make a great, hot daddy to, do ash play with. These people are not reading my profile, and they are not
specific.
They are not knowing. Well, yeah. So I'm looking at messages on my phone because it got me thinking about it. And I was like, yeah, which messages haven't I replied to? Well, this is part of why, because for me, so now I'm creating a response that unfortunately is going to be canned, but I'm going to keep saying to people, thank you for the compliment. However, that is not like my nick is not in reference to cigar play. My nick is in reference to my name. I understand the confusion. I don't have a problem with it. Thank you. So now do you understand? Like, I have to put a whole fucking volume of a paragraph out to explain to somebody because they presumed off the bat, Garbear, because they pronounce it that way in their mind, oh, he's into cigars. Well, there is not a reference to a cigar in my profile. I don't have a cigar in any picture. Nothing about smoke play, anything. And I'm like, okay. Like, and I've dealt with this my entire online life ever since Bear became my nickname. So since what, like 2000 or whatever? I mean, we're going on like almost 20 years of this. And I guess that's where, I'm just a little crotchety about it. I'm kind of like, so when people, pay me a comment or whatever, that's kind of why I ghost on them. Like, I don't really reply because it's like, do I really want to engage and try to explain, you made a mistake, you have a false presumption, it doesn't bother me, but you're wrong. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
maybe you need to put an E after your R.
No, because then that's not how I spell my name.
Well, then he's bending himself in his own persona to the will of other people. I understand where Gary's coming from. He shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, my biggest thing overall is I get that screen names kind of are meant to represent you. That's why I've been Theater Cup 79 for so long. But also, there's more to you or more to me than my screen name. If your screen name is Sloppy Bottom 23, yeah, I'm going to make some assumptions based on that name.
Is that like 23 the year they were born, 23 times they've been a sloppy bottom today?
Damon, I thought we weren't going to talk about my alter ego, so that's really kind of rude of you to put that out there. So that's why I'm going to just own it, I guess.
I always thought you were a sloppy bottom 22, but
anyway, what I'm getting at is that
look at the name. You're seething.
Your screen name is going to say something, obviously, but your screen name is just that.
Look, it's just like a Say Something Hat Day, except it's every day.
Yeah.
He has a Say Something Hat Day.
But yeah, that's my biggest thing. My other, since we're talking about shutdowns and we're talking about like in real life, not in real life, but I'm going to go, we're still mostly to online. One of the problems that happens to me is when I shut you down and then you come back trying to clap back with a negative comment or an insult about me. So one of my biggest peeves is when I have politely, nicely expressed to you that I'm not interested in what you are offering, whatever that may be. Then you try to turn that into a, well, fuck you, you're fat as fuck anyway, or I've gotten ones more related to race, but I have gotten the shutdown clapback, as I'm going to call it right now for modern terms, is that since I declined their invitation, they have now come back, try to throw fire at you to kind of make you feel even worse.
Now, is that really a clapback?
It's not really a clapback.
It's not really. I get your point, but I wouldn't really call it a clapback. Clapback is like I'm correcting you on something.
Well, then
that you are extremely wrong on.
It's rude. It's rude. I'll just put it like that. It's insult. You're trying to insult someone because you feel bad about the fact that you were declined.
Right.
You know, that's what it is. And for me, I want to be like, fuck you, first of all. And then I want to be like, I'm not the one who expressed interest. You said something to me first. And I, as I've mentioned several times, told you I am not interested. You're the one that was interested in me. I am not interested in you. So instead of accepting that as a part of life, you instead try to turn that into a revenge, insult, tactic, whatever you want to call it, to, I guess, make you feel better.
Yeah. I've gotten my fair share of those messages, but it usually only happens when it's somebody who's coming for me and all they really want is sex, and I tell them that I'm not interested. Or somebody who's really arrogant, like you can tell that they care a lot about their body or whatever. You know, they're muscular and they're toned or whatever. And then they hit on me and I'm like, you are barking up the wrong tree there, big guy. And yeah, that's when I get the, well, you're a fat fuck anyway.
Yeah.
And as I eat my donut.
Channel some Pup Beacon.
It's just one of these things where I sit there and, you know, I get that you were saying, you know, you were expressing interest and you've gotten essentially shut down. I get that. And I get that that can suck. But as someone who has dealt with that, you know, before in real life and in person, I get it. I really do. I empathize. But to try to make the other person feel bad by insulting them or especially insulting like physical characteristics of that person, it's kind of a, not even, I wouldn't even call it a low blow. It's kind of a bitch move.
I think I'm more of a, okay, so you just wanted to hit on me and have sex with me. I'm just not interested. Not saying anything about you. And now you're saying that I'm ugly or I'm fat anyways. Why the fuck did you even ask about me anyways? Why were you interested anyways? It doesn't make sense.
If you would have... Yeah.
So honestly, if you're shut down, you're upset about being shut down, you say, it's pretty much for the people being shut down should be like, oh, well, I'm here if you would like me in the future for some strange reason. Maybe you're just, and people could just be not in the mood when you shut them down. It's like,
well, all right. So
this sex right now.
Right. So this is what I want to talk about, because I think this is what complicates the entire situation is men sexually. It's a very primal kind of thing. And I think what is very frustrating is that it's a fleeting window opportunity time when a guy is going to hook up or have an orgasm. Let's just put it that way. It's not even about hooking up. It's just about getting off. And I think that's what's a little confounding and confusing, because I see this all the time, especially on like geolocation based hookup by app or website. You're looking for someone locally on Craigslist, on, you know, Squirt, Atom for Atom, Growler, Scruff, Grinder, blah, 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 blah. So the thing is that like you have a certain window time in which your hormones are like kind of up and you want to have a nut. But like then that passes. And I think that's what complicates things is like, especially in online, is you already got off or something distracted you, like Krispy Kreme hot donuts. I don't know. So, you know,
unless you're into that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could put the two together. No shame in that. The thing is that like that's kind of passive. That's one of the things that I find personally frustrating, but I keep reminding myself of that is like there are some guys locally that I'm kind of like, I see that they check out my profile. There's one guy in particular which kind of cracks me up. All he ever does is say hi. But like it's this weird like 2-day delay kind of back and forth conversation. And it's not really a conversation. He just keeps saying hi. I say hey. He says hi. About 4 days later, I say hey. Like,
and when that shit happens, after it starts to annoy me, I finally call it out and will say something like, "Are you actually going to hold a conversation, or is this it? Because if this is it, I don't want to do it." And they either will continue with something more substantial or never speak to me again.
Yeah, I mean, but what occurs to me is I think what's happening in this kind of example that I was giving is at the moment when he messages me, he's interested, he might be willing to hook up or get together, but that moment has passed. And because I'm not online exactly at that moment, but was recently, do you know what I mean? Like like it's just more about reality of time not matching up in that case. Now, to take that, though, and put it into real life, I think we don't experience that much because when you see another person physically in your presence, the likelihood of their hormones like dropping and not being, up for some fun isn't happen that rapidly. You know what I mean? Like it seems like it happens rapidly online when the reality is no, it could or could not. Like they could have just turned to, XTube or, Pornhub or, their binoculars to the neighbor. Anyways, so I mean, I think that's one of the oddity things because I think that's like, that's where bathhouses, I think, have their anything that's in real life. Bathhouses, I can talk about, hooking up in public, glory holes and adult bookstores and pickle parks, all that. I think those things have a place because it literally is about just that kind of moment.
Yeah.
And then, it passes. And so probably ends in a squirt. And then that's kind of that. And so the likelihood of not responding isn't as easy because the person is literally right there. I mean, trust me, I have been shut down in a physical presence of a person, not like cruelly, but I mean, people have dismissed me, have given me a look, have told me no. I mean, like people have physically kept a distance, like literally with an arm or a hand. I mean, I'm not ever going to say that they were mean about it, but I know, like, back in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s, I went to a bathhouse and there was a couple of guys that like literally closed the door in my face.
Yeah.
To go in, to their room or whatever. And so I guess it's enough experience that maybe it's kind of build up my skin, my hide or whatever. And I'm a little like less sensitive about it. And I don't really take it as personal. I just recognize like, I'm not their interest in their communication method could use just a little work.
Yeah.
Instead of saying no, thanks, or no, or shaking their head, no, there's, I guess, more aggressive ways to do something. I will also own there was a time in my life where the thirst was really bad. So you
were parched.
Parched. I was dying. But the reality is like I could have been completely ignoring all the signals for no.
Yeah.
So there were times, I guarantee, I know without a shadow of a doubt, there have been a couple of men that I would have amputated a part of my body to be with. That's like how out of my head focused I was. Like I was obsessed in real life and had no idea I was coming across as fucking, Kathleen Turner in, Fatal Attraction or
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
crazy kind of like now looking back, I'll be like, oh, girl, wow.
Yeah.
I really wished I'd had a bestie with me at the moment who could have just like put a leash on me and pulled me back and been like, you need to knock it the fuck off.
Yeah, that's been one of my biggest. So I've had that issue, and I've actually had, fortunately, a good friend explain to me sometimes, like especially this is like. This is the 20s. This is back when you're in your 20s, and your libido's like this, and everybody's like super hot and sexy, and you want it all. So I had a good friend explain to me that sometimes I wasn't necessarily coming on a little strong, but I was coming on a little creepy stalker-ish kind of thing. Because one of my tricks when I was in my 20s, not so much now, but one of my tricks in my 20s was that I could remember, especially locally, your like bear phone one profile name or your whatever name and your real name. Like I could connect the two, and if I recognized you, that's what I would, that's how I would introduce myself to you as, like, hey, you're, Bearman 27, and on
Sloppy Bottom 23.
Exactly, or whatever.
I recognize your hole.
But like, and then it would. I thought it was a cute. We're not talking about you, Gary.
Remember, you're Sloppy Bottom 22, not 23. We're talking about somebody else.
Anyway, but no, I would remember the name, and I would compliment them and talk to them and try to like have a conversation, and I would remember things in their profile. Like that's how engaged at the time I was with like online and then meeting someone in person. And my friend told me that kind of comes off as creepy because I am literally spilling contents of their profile that probably they don't even remember, or they may have put in there, or it's weird because I was say things. So my in real life flirtation methods shifted a little bit more, just to kind of disengage from that whole like profile and bullshit kind of thing, to like now I would try to remember something, at least a real name, and then if I didn't remember that, I would try to like just engage in conversation, because as if we had never met, in a sense. Like even though I've seen you online and know your name and everything else online, I would not act like, but I would recognize the name, but I would talk to you as if we're just meeting for the first time, because more than likely we are actually meeting for the first time in person. So
yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was just thinking about like some behaviors I used to do in my past and in real life that I think can be translated into online. Like now we talk about things that are like where people pester you and they keep saying certain stuff like, hey, hi, hello, hi, hey, like, and that's all they kind of say. Like they don't, like they're waiting for you to respond to say something and then actually have a conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will own that some of my past behaviors in real life where like I was a little probably creepy. Yeah. I don't know how else to say it. It was social awkwardness, like coming from a place of desperation, and the desperation was coming from a lack of self-esteem, like and a confidence, like to know you are acceptable the way you are. You don't have to prove to other people anything. You just need to be you. Like you just have to have enough like kind of self-awareness to be like, no, it's okay. I'm okay the way I am. I don't have to prove my intelligence, my prowess, my humor, my whatever. And trust, like I'm in my 40s. I still have really noticeable behavior patterns that I follow into that, people that know me well, they kind of pick up on it and they'll point it out, Yeah. But that's one of the things, like I put myself in a certain place and I recognize I have a certain standard about stuff that is why I don't mean to make it sound negative. I choose to be single because I realize that I'm a handful or two handfuls or whatever. And I don't mean physically, so don't y'all get it twisted. I recognize that it's not easy to understand the nuances and the personality that I am and how I look and behave and see certain things. So I think I learned, dial it back. Don't be so thirsty. Or hungry or whatever, just kind of have some patience with it and be okay, and recognize a lot of these things that are variables. Like I was talking about how it's a fleeting moment that a person wants to kind of be with you. I mean, and that even happens in real life. I'm thinking back to, experiences that I've had specifically pretty much with bathhouses, or adult bookstores, where the reason you are there is pretty defined.
Yeah.
It's not a bar. It's not a potluck. It's not a bear run. You know what I mean? It's not a leather contest. I mean, there's so many different other things that you could do. It's not a gaming get together where there's a completely different focus. And yeah, some stuff might happen depending on the culture, the arena, the behavior, all that kind of stuff. But when you're specifically at a place and it's pretty much hooking up as the thing, there's some obvious stuff that comes out, which I find very interesting because now being older and having years of experience, this isn't really kind of spilling any tea, but when we were at Claw, because the hotel that they had picked doesn't have a pool, they put together going to the bathhouse, I think 2 or 3 days in a row. And that was the pool party, so to speak. But notably, there's a pool, there's a hot tub. It's in a bathhouse where pretty much everybody is fuck-ass naked. So, so it's kind of understandable. Like, this is the public area arena where I think most people were polite with their behavior. Like, nobody was outright just having sex in the pool or the hot tub because they knew all you had to do was literally walk 40 feet away and you could go play over there in this other space, that's defined by doors and walls or whatever. Or you could take the stairs and go to a different location. So now I look back and I think, it's interesting about the years of experience because now I can see other people and be like, ooh, girl, wow. Like, I hope you get some soon because, like, you are obviously on the hunt. And it's not a pretty look. But it's hard. It's difficult because I think there's so much tied up into our own self-esteem. I have friends that I've talked to about this. I'm always kind of in a little bit of wonder and awe about people who have such, compared to me, I feel such great sexual confidence that they're just like, their mental state is not mine. They're kind of like, what? It's just sex. Like, and I want to have sex with you. What's the big deal? And I'm kind of like, I'm like, no, it is not that simple. And it is not that easy and whatever. Or maybe it is. And my brain doesn't understand that or gets in the way and creates hurdles and barriers and, all sorts of stuff.
Speaking of mentality and brain and stuff, one of the worst, so with shutdowns, sometimes the worst thing is not the shutdown itself, is more what happens to you when you are shut down. The mental issues, the whatever. Like Chester mentioned earlier, there's that whole like validation and dismissal that kind of makes you feel invisible. As someone who has dealt with it a few more, especially physical, like in-person shutdowns in a sense, it can be difficult mentally and emotionally to deal with. It sucks. Like I'm putting it to simply and bluntly, it sucks. But the thing that you kind of have to, at least for me, what helps me eventually is that, this one time, this one guy did this, and maybe it happened a few times, and it kind of sucks, especially like you're mentioning, like a bathhouse or whatever kind of area. But you're gonna find that interest. It's just maybe taking a little bit longer than you would like, or that guy shut you down, but maybe there's another reason why they did. And maybe there's something up with them that you need to take into, that you're not thinking about right now or considering because you're dealing with the issues of being shut down.
Right. I think there's always stuff outside of the immediacy that you just have no clue about. Like, I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm with my best friends who are a lesbian couple staying in their house, and we're there for New Year's. And guys are like, "Hey, blah, 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 I want to hook up and this and that." And there's a part of me that's like, well, I'm on this app that's understood that you think like I want to go have fun, but I'm not. One, I would never have someone come over to their house.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like they're not a part of that culture. I'll put it that way. I think if I was to stay at someone else's house where that's the norm, slut keys.
Slut keys.
Oh, apparently that's a UK thing. When I would visit friends over in the UK, they would always ask, "Do you need the slut keys?" And I'd be like, "What?" They're like, the the keys to the front door, so in case you want to go out and come back.
Oh, that's
Bruce said that to me one time. That when I got over there, and he's like, "Well, I'll just give you the slut keys, then eventually we'll just go and get another pair made." Okay.
I get that.
It. And then I heard other people say it, so apparently it's a UK thing.
It's a very interesting concept of having someone who's no offense, someone who's staying over. And
It's a message to your guest saying it's okay to leave and come back. Because I know for me, I'm the type of person that if I'm staying at your place, like what you're talking about, Gary, if I'm visiting and I'm staying at your place, I'm there to visit you, not to be hooking up with people.
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends on the person. And I put it that way because I will say this. If I was visiting any of you, like as co-hosts, we know each other well enough and so frequently that to visit you and then to leave for a little while and come back, I don't think is all that like questionable. Because most likely I'm not there.
I would question it. I would want every gory detail.
All right, touche. Everybody do your shot. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a good call out. But yeah, the reality is that we know each other well enough, we're comfortable with each other that it's not really that big of a deal. If I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to go to the Walgreens, and you're kind of like, I'm sure you are. Really, girl, you were gone for 45 minutes. No, but here's the thing though. We know each other that well enough. I mean, I think there's a time and a place for that. And because I'm such a private person in some respects when it comes to that area of my life, like that's why, people are like, people talk all the time about, you hook up all the time and this and that. And I'm kind of like, no. Like if you knew the reality versus the imagination of what people have, it's like, it's so divergent.
Yeah.
Sloppy Bottom 22 is really only Sloppy Bottom 2.
But that number was taken, so I had to add
Shade.
Anyways. No, I mean, so I think that that's one of the dynamic pieces is like the time and the place. This concept of slut keys is very interesting to me because I have a best friend who has a set of keys, or a key, I should say, to my place, because if I'm not here and I want something, I need them to check on something. Like, so for instance, this time of year with the possibility of freezing pipes, which unfortunately has happened for a handful of people I know, that if I'm not here, I would like someone to be able to come and check. And no offense, I'm not asking my landlord to come check on my place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they do it, that's on them, but I'm not going to pester them or that kind of stuff. So, I mean, my dad, when he lived out of town, he had a set of keys to my place. So when he was in Erie, he could, let him. But notably, he never walked in on anything, but I was annoyed because he wouldn't call before coming over. So it got to a point where I was kind of like, you know what? Like, that's going to stop. Like, I didn't say anything to him. Luckily, it never really escalated to the point. But
take those keys back.
Well, it's gonna, or something. But when friends stay, like, I mean, granted, they're really close friends, like AJ, Drew, some other folks. If they've been here for a little bit of an extended time, like, and by that I
mean, leave condoms in your couch.
Anyway,
that's a whole other story. And for clarification, it was not used. So everybody calm down.
Oh, okay.
It was
there in case.
Anyways,
keep going.
The point is that if they're here, say, for the weekend, like a couple of days, I will give them a key. So I tell them, in case you need to come and go, or that was a horrible reference. If
come and return.
If you need to run to the store, have to, do something. Some folks that visit, they're from here. So they go to visit friends or family. I don't want them to feel anchored that they have to check in with me or know whether or not I'm here. And with me, when I was working at home, the last thing I really need is to like kind of stop, go unlock the door, let them in, especially if I'm on a conference call or, that kind of stuff. It was just easier to give them a key and be like, you can, you have access however you want, and it made it easier because like if I had to go do something, then I didn't feel that I was making them a prisoner, that if they left they couldn't get back in.
Yeah.
So to me, that extra key or whatever wasn't so much a slut key. It was just more about that they had the accessibility issue. That is now an interesting thing to me because I've never really thought about that. So as clarification, Chester, I'm focusing on this definition, obviously. This was about that they had the ability to leave and to come back, not that they could have tricks over.
I would say that's exactly what it is, because I don't ever remember anybody ever. Well, I did have people say to me, and even Dane has said this to me before. He's like, "You have keys to our house, so whenever you're here visiting, you're free to go and come back, do whatever you need to do." And there was one time where Dane had said, "Just don't bring people back here that we don't know about." I think it would have been different if it was a mutual friend of all of ours and I brought them back, because at least then they knew who it was.
Yeah.
Right. And I agree with you, because I'll say it this way. This is purely an example. If I was staying with you, Chester, and Evan's place, and Chris Hauser, who lives nearby, and we all know him, if he came over to hang out, play games, that's not that big a deal. You all know him. But if I just randomly talk to, some, hot
Sloppy
dude
bottom
online.
24.
Or sloppy top.
Sloppy top.
That doesn't sound good, actually. But anyways, right, and so I have this person over. That's where I think the in real life gets real complicated. And that's the way that I feel about it. This is not my home. So I don't feel that I have permission to have a complete stranger over. But I have had some friends that are very open that way. They don't care. And they're, I guess, not as cautious. And I'm like, hell no. I don't know who this person is. And while I may get to want to know them, it's only going to last a finite amount of time, So that's not an appropriateness to what?
Your fingers what did that mean?
Well, I was making reference to how the time could vary. It wasn't about penis. Penis is, anyways.
Penis is two hands. One hand.
No, because I was gonna make a quip about my standard joke is that men only last on average about 7 minutes. So, if I was to be inappropriate and I was at a friend's home and have a trick over in their home, the amount of time they're there is pretty limited, unless for some reason we really hit it off and then it turns into
a longer session.
Right. But
So-
but the point is
relationship.
A what?
Meaningful overnight relationship.
Nice.
I've never heard of that before.
Really, those are the best ones.
Anyway, so from the chat, Dogai has said that it's not a slut key, it's a freedom key.
Oh,
yeah, you're free to do what you want.
Yeah.
That includes go slutting it up with sloppy bottom 23 or power top 24 if you're lucky.
Yeah, power top. That's better.
But yeah, anyway, it's so
reversible 42.
Reined us all back in.
Jackhammer 17.
Power drill 8 inches. AOL inches.
Oh man.
Hard salami stick 17. Anyway.
Oh my god. And
Karen from finance. Oh wait, wrong.
Oh my god, Ray is going to lose his mind when he starts hearing it. Damn it, Susan! Anyways.
Off the reins, trying to rein it back. Can't do it. Anyway. So I think
I mean, we could go look at porn, but I think we have more discussion.
One of the things that irritates me, since we're talking about being shutting down in real life versus online, let's mash the two up. And this is something that I personally find aggravating as fucking hell.
I know where you're going.
When you're talking to somebody online, whether it's Facebook or Growler or whatever the case may be, and things seem to go well, and then all of a sudden you meet them in line and they shut you down, or they become closed off, or even worse, when you are hitting it off well, you go to a bear run, they're there at the bear run, and you're like, hey, we can finally make this stuff happen. Now, I will say that there is always that chance. I'm the type of person that advises to people, don't make plans to do things at a bear run, because it's probably not going to happen. Don't work your self-esteem up for that happening. Don't get your hopes up.
Right.
What I'm referring to is while you're at that run and the person continues to send you messages about getting together.
Yep.
So you approach them in person and they still shut you down. That happened to me at Midwest Bear Fest. And I was like, you know what? I don't have time for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different. I see that, David. This is what
it was not Damon, by the way.
No. It wasn't about David. David is completely in agreement. He is just applying lip gloss with attitude.
Okay, so sure. Because I'm thinking in my head, no, Damon and I were planning on doing stuff at Midwest, and even while we were there, it still didn't happen.
No, this is different.
Right.
This is what I am applying the lip the lip tap for some other reasons. Because the worst, I am totally with you with that happening. And I hate that fucking shit with a passion.
Because it happened to you as well at Midwest.
Yeah,
yes,
right?
this year in December, we're not going to spill any tea, but Damon confided and talked to Chester and I about he was having some some difficulties with. Girl, I don't think you need to apply a third time in so many minutes. But anyways,
that tea is scalding.
Ooh, somebody's lips are chapped.
Excuse me, I need to get a refill.
but no, I'm 100% on board with this whole thing, and it's the thing that bothers me to no end is the shutdown, especially in person, but also the whole like interest, then nothing, and then even after the fact,
you get home, like, oh, I'm really sorry we didn't get together. Fuck you. No, you're not.
Oh, no. So I have to say this: if they actually say something and apologize, you have like pole vaulted yourself in my mind about like humanity, because you actually are owning you kind of fucked up. Like you dropped the ball. You didn't allow it to happen. I think I told you guys, maybe I didn't, but someone I was going to have some fun with at Indy actually sent me a message, and we know each other personally. And they said, I want to apologize. I know we said we were going to get together and it didn't happen. And I feel bad about that. And it was kind of a saving grace moment in which I wasn't mad at them because I know them well enough I wasn't upset. Had they been a stranger or someone I didn't know very well, yes, what they said would have gone way further, like in terms of that. But I know this person, so I wasn't mad about it. But it was interesting because there were two people that basically said, hey, I know we were going to, whatever we talked about, and it didn't happen. And I'm sorry about that. I appreciated that very much because I was like, oh, okay. Like that's you're showing some humanity. Like you're actually basically saying, oh, it kind of wasn't cool that we didn't have things come together, but it's taken experience to get beyond the pissosity I used to have when I would go to bear runs early on many years ago. And like, I would feel like, oh, everybody around me is getting fucking dick, but I'm not, like, because I would just feel like people would lead you on and then never commit or come through. The reality is, I think you are one person amongst a mass of people. So the reality of you actually hooking up with the person is not what you think it is. Like statistically, if you run the numbers, like unless you're fucking uber popular because everybody wants your hole or whatever.
Or dick.
Then Yeah, like it's not what you think it is. You think that I think that's the crazy part is your imagination runs away and you think everybody's having sex around you. And it's like, maybe, maybe not. Maybe there's some loud motherfuckers, and that's what you keep hearing. Like loud in the room, loud in the play space, loud online, you know, growler shouts and whatever, you know, I mean, and so you kind of think like you're in this culture of all this hooking up that's going on when in reality there may not be as much DNA being exchanged. There may be more, you know, just kind of like games and cuddling and who knows. So I think I've learned over the years like to not really get upset about that or get frustrated by it. I also learned to stop chasing. Like, if you're interested, it's going to happen, and if not, it's not. And I kind of learned to flip the script because I used to get really upset about it, and I would be bothered, and I would internalize it, and I would be like, "What is it about me that they didn't want to hook up?" and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, like I don't know, somehow my own kind of mindset switched, and I was kind of like, "No, fuck all y'all. Like you lost out. It's your fault. I hope it was good for you, whoever you were with, if you were with anybody." Because that's also a possibility that I hate to say this about people, but they might have talked a lot of game and they didn't actually really do anything with anybody.
Yeah, I would like to back up just a little bit that when I said that when you get shut down at the run and then afterwards they start messaging you again, and I was like, no, fuck you, you had your chance. I would like to say that that's not including the people that, you know, take the time to craft a message and say and apologize for not actually going through with it. Yeah. It's the ones who lead you on and then afterwards continue to pretend like it didn't happen. Like them shutting you down at the run didn't happen. And they continue to flirt with you. Like it's no big deal.
What do we call them? Players? Yeah, because I'll tell you right now, and this is not to be shady against Indy, but there's a couple of them there. Like, in my mind, infamously, I've gone enough times to be like, no, girl, ain't got no time, because, like, I've been through this too many times, repeat pattern, and I ain't the only one. I'm pretty sure if during our cocktail social hour, I went around and talked to people and was really fucking inappropriate, and held up my phone and was like, you see this bitch? Like, you ever get led on by her? Like, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, we get a whole revival of us going, Nope. No, Miss Thing. Like, you talk a lot of talk and you don't come through, so be gone. I think that you know, that kind of stuff happens, and it's unfortunate. But what I keep thinking about now in our conversation is the shitty thing is, I don't know how else to explain it. I think you have to have experience to find yourself in the landscape, like to set yourself and be like, oh, okay, it actually isn't me. It's outside of me. It's circumstance. It's the other person. I mean, there's just a lot of different variables of stuff. I mean, I've known people that gone to a run, talked to them, we're going to hook up or something. And then unfortunately, like they got sick or had an emergency. They, you know, found themselves counseling a good friend who was going through a rough time out of nowhere, you know? And so, I mean, there's so many other possibilities that, you know, it's very difficult. And that's what I try to tell people is until you get a scope and know more, realize that you are seeing one side of the coin. Like you're not fully aware of what the pieces are. Is it a possibility that they're being a dick? Absolutely. Especially if you don't know them.
Yeah. It's always going to be, like you said, it's always going to be a matter of perspective. And that's one of the things that I'm dealing with still, is just that this whole idea about, okay, well, what is it? What was it? And you can't, like you said, you can't just focus it internally. You kind of have to look at it from the other side. You know, was something going on that they weren't aware of? Was there something that maybe is the case? For some people, and I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Those that like apologize after a fact or say something to the effect of like, I'm sorry we didn't connect, or I really wanted to connect with you, but da 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 da, something. I will give you the benefit of the doubt. However, there is a limit. There will become a limit where it's no longer acceptable for there to be this many excuses or something or whatever. There's going to come a point in me where this is now, like you said, now becoming a pattern. This is now someone who is a repeat offender, or worse, like Chester was saying with the whole, like, you've now officially, to me, shut me down. And now you want to play this, like, oh, I'm still interested bullshit? No. We have been in the same space in person, and you have, in my opinion, you have officially declined. And if there was a reason behind that, okay, if you tell me, I'll happily take that into consideration. But if there is you have literally shut me down in person, then to me, most of anything you say after that is going to be nothing, because you have pretty much said that you are, either without saying it, you have said you're no longer interested. So as you said, Gary, I'm not going to chase that anymore. I'm going to let that one go. And if something happens, it's not going to be on me to make it happen. It's now on them.
And I think there's what we kind of fail to do. I say fail to do. I think what happens is we don't consider the investment versus the payout. Uh-huh. So, like, I kind of make a joke about the 7-minute thing, but it's like, the reality is, it could be longer, could be half hour, could be an hour or whatever. But like, what I don't think we think about is, like, is it worth it? Like, the amount of time and energy I'm putting in to make this thing happen, is it going to be worth it in the end? Like, am I building this up to a thing that's not really going to be the thing that, I want it to be? Because the truth is, I've had both. I've had where I've met with somebody and we've had a good time, and I'm very happy, like pleasantly surprised, like, even surprised. But then I've also had like oh, well, okay. Like, that's, I'll call it this word, which isn't nice. It's a disappointment. Yeah. And that kind of comes down to, what, the circumstances, what we're facing with that. And that's a challenge, difficult. I mean, I agree that, yes, it is frustrating to talk to somebody online and to be with them in real life, like, say, at a bar, at an event, at a run or whatever, and their behavior is completely different. Like, I absolutely get that. But that's why I don't do that. Like, I don't try to be flirty on an app and then not, like, carry that forward in real life. I will own that I'm, a more quiet, reserved, kind of shy individual in real life, but that's part of, like, my submissive personality, that I want someone to take initiative. So if they don't know that about me, then yes, like, that's more on me than it is on them. But I've also learned that I have this kind of magnetism, I don't know what else to call it, like, that I find other individuals that are sort of like me. And that becomes a challenge, because then basically neither of us are saying anything or, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of the first group scene I was ever involved with many, many, many years ago. I never forget, in this moment, we were collectively in a place on vacation. It's kind of hard to explain without giving all the details away. Anyways, we're watching TV, and someone literally said, "Okay, so when are we gonna get this orgy started?"
Nice.
And I was completely, like, mentally freaked out, and I tried really hard to, like, not give it away physically, because there's a part of me that wanted to, like, run from the room, because I was so, like, alarmed by this bluntness about it. Mm-hmm. But this person was in a somewhat appropriately being aggressive and calling out, like, there's a group of us, we're all in this room, there's sexual energy, you can taste it.
Yeah.
Like, there are people here that want to do things and no one's taking any initiative, no one's doing anything, so consequently they, you know, kind of called it out, and everybody kind of laughs a little bit. I laugh very awkwardly.
Well, this orgy sure is off to a slow start.
Yes, as that one T-shirt says. But, you know, so I turned around and because I just didn't understand or know, but I will say, yes, it was fun. Like, because then at that point, that I think broke the tension, and it gave people permission to, like, well, if you're going to do something, you know.
Let's do something, yeah.
Right. But that's, again, a circumstance of someone, I guess, taking initiative, someone making a decision and doing things. And the reality is this thing that I'm describing, without giving all the details away, and I apologize for being so PC about it, this wasn't meant to be this. Like, literally, I thought we were watching TV. Like, and we're not watching porn, so it's not in a bathhouse where it's like, you know.
Yeah.
Like obviously this is part of it. It was, no, we were literally watching satellite television, so, you know, and we're not watching Skinemax or anything.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of this, okay, like, I guess that's a thing and that's going to happen. And all right. Like, so
here we are. So.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Chester, I thought you were going to say something, but maybe not.
No. I just think it's very interesting overall. I think to kind of wrap this all up, for me, as we've been kind of saying, shutdowns can go, you know, honestly, can go both ways. Sometimes you're the one that's shutting down, or you're someone that's shutting you down. Don't try your best not to take them personally. I know it can suck sometimes. I know it can not be the greatest feeling in the world, but as we've kind of mentioned, especially Gary has mentioned, is that over time you'll learn that there's more going on, there's more into play, there's more into it. Like we've said, maybe that person is just a straight up dick, and all they want to do is lead people on and be, you know, do that and be that, and that's their thing, and you kind of fell for it. And yeah, that's not the greatest thing, but you know what? That it's over. It's done. Either they've shut you down or you shut them down, and now you're now past it. You need to move on, and it may take a while. Like I said, I'm personally kind of dealing with some stuff that happened, particularly at Midwest this year, and I'm still mentally processing it. I know it seems weird, 3 weeks or so past it, but it's something that, for me, I'm trying to determine whether this was, I'm going to use the word intentional or not, is what I'm trying to say. Was this a intentional, like, intentional crack at me, or crack at, you know, something that happened? Or was this sincerely a matter of circumstances beyond all of our control? And I'm kind of in the middle of it because there's too many factors that I don't know.
Right.
And because of that, like I said, it's going to stay with me for a little bit longer than most shutdowns usually do. Honestly, most of the time with shutdowns, even in-person shutdowns, I can get over it pretty quickly because I know that's it. You know, that's it. But this one is kind of lingering only because of other factors.
Right. No, and I think it becomes more difficult the more you're invested, especially the more you know the other person. I will own it is extremely easy for me personally to just write somebody off as a dick or as a tease or whatever because I don't know them. Or I don't know them that well.
Yeah.
But once I become invested in the person, and by that I mean I know of their life, we probably chat like semi-frequently or all the time. I mean, yeah, there comes a point where you're not close enough to just outright ask what the fuck happened. So you're in this kind of limbo land. Like, can I not say something? If you don't know them that well, you don't know if they'll, like, you know, get like put up, you know, walls and barriers and, you know, shut down about it, and by that I mean, like, you know, mentally, like, the communication, they just don't want to deal with it. I don't know. I mean, that's where some of my closest friends, I think, the reason why they are my closest, dearest friends is because they understand I have let you in. And once that's kind of happened, like, don't be surprised that I will actually ask the hard questions. Like, I will have some conversation points or bring some things up because that's just the way I've developed. I'm very guarded that way. Like, if you've made it to this point, then yes, like, we're going to have some hard truth conversations from time to time, in which I think everyone will be better for it when we get out of it, but that remains to be seen. You know, it's like I try to gauge that in conversation well with people. I think other people handle it differently. I think some people are kind of like, mwah, like they don't care. They don't care where you fall in their life. To them, there are no categories, labels, boxes, divisions, whatever. It's all fair game. So they will say anything at any time to anybody. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting. So I don't think the point of today's topic was to solve anything.
No, it's just to bring it to people's attention that this shit happens, and it happens to everybody.
Yeah, I don't think it matters your age, your size, any marker or thing that you want to choose as a label or a definer. What you're into, what you're not into. I don't think there's anything that like is specific that kind of dictates it one way or another. I think there's just a lot of it, and us talking about it, I hope, kind of brings that to light. That folks realize, like, yes, there is a definitive difference in how people behave online versus how they do in real life, and it doesn't always match up, and it's frustrating, and it can be a little challenging, and it's up to you how you want to handle it. I don't think any of us are in the camp of that we're just going to always call it out right away to prove a point.
Yeah.
I think we take it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Yep. In conclusion, that's it. Okay. Let's talk about dick.
No.
I'll tumble for you.
Oh,
I'll
shoot.
tumble for you.
Oh! Soundboards!
Tumble.
There we go. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, peekaboo.
Sorry,
Nice.
I'm still too amused by that.
Hello.
So,
Nice to you.
nice big black guy, just kind of chilling in his shorts, and something's kind of poking out.
This is like the start of a porn.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Like there's
It's the start of fun. I mean,
yeah.
although, I mean, technically, isn't that what all of Tumblr is in a way for us?
Yeah.
Start of fun,
as a group.
I suppose.
Well, yeah, I mean, any of these things that we're reposting, I'm pretty sure it's step one of leading to an orgasm. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, fun, usually I think of, like, with somebody. So it's like, right now, the person is, like, between the other person's leg, and there just happens to be a penis just kind of, like, peeking out there. And it's like, what's the next thing to happen after this picture was shot?
Yeah.
Take your shorts off.
Just saying.
What did you say, Chester?
Taking his shorts completely off.
Yeah, I have to admit, they're the way. Like, and it's the only thing he's wearing. It's kind of like, really?
Well,
I
you
would
know,
say-
it's
Eventually
lean
they-
down, maybe
Eventually
do a
they
little
would come
suckle.
off. Let me put that
and then
back.
pull off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
You can work on
I
it for a
will
little
say,
while.
and maybe I should save this comment for our clothing episode that we're going to do in a couple weeks. But I happen to like underwear that has flies, because to me it's kind of like you're searching around in there, maybe with your tongue or your fingers, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, hey, look, there's a prize.
It's
But
like the
eventually
Cracker
they got to
Jack
come off.
This is foreplay. It's
box. I just say
foreplay.
you
Come
need
on.
to try a little harder.
All right, we all have different definitions of stuff, because I'm like, a hard penis poking out the side of underwear is not foreplay.
No, but you could be playing around with it while the underwear is still on. You don't have to be like going to town
Well, okay.
Full mode right then and right there.
I will. All right, I'm gonna own this. At this moment in time, I am annoyed by the underwear because apparently I am more focused on.
You're like the 4 or 5-year-old at Christmas time who sees all the presents on the tree and you just went out and wrap them as quickly as possible.
If the present was partially unwrapped, like that's the thing I kind of have an issue with right now is like, it's an invitation. An erect penis poking out the side of underwear is an invitation. It is not foreplay. It is a come hither. Like this is
Right. It's the invitation that leads to foreplay, which leads to other things.
No, I know that to me there is no foreplay. You just skip right over so doing stuff. Anyways, hence we have different definitions.
Okay,
David, what's your urban Tumblr pick?
God. I titled mine "Keeping Clean." It is, I believe, Mr. Ariana Grande, or maybe if it's not him specifically, it's a friend of his because he's the one that posted it first.
No, I think
That's him.
Oh, good. And he's cleaned up.
finishing a shower.
He's toweling himself off. Yes, after having taken a shower.
Yeah.
So he's squeaky clean.
Yes.
So it's time to make a mess.
God, he's beautiful.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm like, oh, so you took a shower just to get dirty again? Well,
Exactly.
I'm
you're
okay
in the
with
shower already. Don't go anywhere. We'll just
keep going, and then you'll...
That way, after you get messy, all you need to do is pretty much turn on the water.
Yeah.
It's
But
convenience.
Yeah, this is just one of
Now that you're sticky, here's your new phone.
see.
Nice.
See.
Nice. But yeah, just
Those shirts. Those shirts are not on our store. Although I think that Smashy needs to put them up somewhere because it's his design.
Yes, well, we might do that. Now, to be fair, I don't recommend eating cookies in the shower. I just want to clarify.
Or eating them in bed. There's too many crumbs.
It depends on the kind of cookie.
Hold on.
What are we holding on for?
Oh, he's going to get something.
Which
Hold
we
on.
can't see him.
Okay, I got cookies.
Because you're already sticky.
Anywho, but yeah, so this was my pick. I really like this guy. He's just super hot, and this is a really great. I know it seems weird, but it's a really great picture. Like, yes, he's all naked and everything, but it's just a very. I mean, it's kind of posed, but it's kind of natural, and yeah, it looks good. He looks good.
It's natural in the fact that whoever's behind the camera, he's trying to like seduce. With that, do. Like you could hear the kind of like striptease music on, although he's wearing shorts.
All right.
Although I am like looking at details in the photo of there's a razor on the wall there, and I'm thinking, what is he using it on? Because I don't see any part of his body is shaved. Oh, that must be a roommate's.
Hang on. I know what he's shaving. If you pay attention to the picture, you can figure it out.
This part of his cheeks.
No.
Around his nipples.
No.
I'm not going to make a guess.
Don't
I don't
mess him.
fucking care.
That's it then. That's all I got.
I'm some mighty tasty nuts. Anyways, moving on.
Could just be really fine hair.
Anyway.
But if he does shave his nuts, good on him. For my preferences. Moving on.
No need.
Mine
No shaming.
is titled "Good Morning."
Good morning.
This guy has lots of pictures on his Tumblr of him weightlifting, so he obviously works out. Dark-skinned man. I'm not sure if he's all African American or not.
Doesn't matter. He's hot.
Doesn't matter, but he's hot.
And this is a good picture, and I would happily like to wake up to that in the morning.
He has this orange glow on his beard, and it's also on his groin region too. So I'm very interested in that. Like, what's going on there? I just really appreciate this angle.
It's a good angle. It is a good angle. I will give you that. Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking through his other selfie pictures on his Tumblr. Well, no, because I agree. Like in this particular picture that you picked, Chester, his beard has this like really kind of great color about it. It looks like he has the recessive ginger gene, like gives him a full red kind of beard. But then I'm looking at other pictures, and that doesn't quite necessarily seem to be the case.
It's not quite as orange. It does have is colored, but just not nearly as bright.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I mean he's a cutie patootie.
And he's tatted up, and
he's got not butt too. Just think.
Oh my God, this is funny. How do I share this? Get this link. Oh, maybe this. Oh, but I don't want to screw any of this stuff up. Hang on.
Beard tea.
Oops. Let me know if you guys see that.
Yep.
Wow,
that's hilarious.
Okay, so to describe it to our viewers and our listeners, it's later in his Tumblr account, and it's great. Actually, it's not him. I don't know who that is though. It kind of looks like
Mark
on Fire 40, but it's not. Anyways,
that's who I thought it was at first.
Yeah, no, but it's a great shirt. It says ZZ capital letters, and then it has 3 more lines. And it says top, as in the band, ZZ Top. And top is crossed out, and then it says BTM for bottom, and that's crossed out, and it says VRS for verse. So it's ZZ verse, as opposed to ZZ Top and ZZ bottom.
I think it's a play on, ZZ Top, plus the fact that he has a beard, and he kind of looks like he could be a member of ZZ Top.
Yeah.
It should be a little longer, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's too funny. Anyways. My pick, I call Happy Pup Year because it doesn't really have a caption. I have a new Tumblr infatuation with the gentleman in the picture that says Pandertrist. He's cute. Yeah. And so he's wearing his hood and a fun one-shoulder harness. That has an interesting kind of emblematic like metal joiner piece. He also has tats, and his one nipple is pierced, and he's holding his nice looking erection. I'm just like, yeah. All that.
Buttons.
He is very cute.
Yes.
So I've been reblogging a lot of his stuff recently. So I'm
very nice. Hello. Holy fuck. Sorry. He took off the mask and got beautiful. I'm kidding.
Oh!
I just looked at the picture after, like, there's the first picture, and then it's like, more you like, and it's like, oh, it's him without his mask on.
There's him in other gear, too. Oh.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh.
And following. Thank you for the new.
Can't tell where he's from, but it looks like he might be from California.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He makes a post about going to San Diego, but he's not from San Diego. So he travels a little bit. There's pictures of him in hotel rooms. And
wow.
Yeah. I have to say, one of my preferred looks of his is when he's got the Wolverine chops. With like the goatee area shaved out. I don't know why. I'm really digging that. on him. But yeah, no, he there's another really nice one later down. If you eventually, it says "I'm ready, Daddy." Let y'all find that one. So yeah, no, he looks good in kilt, jock, and
yeah,
all sorts
He
of
just
stuff.
looks
got a
good.
lot. Yeah, he's a really nice looking guy. So there we go.
All right, moving on into our links. I've got two conjoined ones. One of them is partially sold from Damon. It's For Pitch Perfect by Todrick Hall.
Nice.
It's his little acapella, the four of him thing, singing songs from Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect 3. It's a advertised version. Like they paid him to make
Sponsored.
it. Sponsored. That's it. Thank you. So it was for the Pitch Perfect 3 thing. So
yeah,
but it's really neat. All of his stuff like this is really neat. So
yeah,
I like it. And just to kind of like conjoin things. So I've talked about Pitch Perfect 2. I've talked about Pitch Perfect 3. Now I'm going to talk about Pitch Perfect 1 because I want to kind of like relate this to the entire trilogy. I'm giving you a link to the Seawall Movies episode 126, Aka Awkward, in which, as I said before, Steve and I talk about our thoughts on the original Pitch Perfect.
Nice.
So, links related to all 3 Pitch Perfect movies.
Sweet.
Damon?
So, along the same lines, I have For the Greatest Showman. So, as I mentioned, I saw the movie
just to say
earlier.
This is the video that I linked off with to find my video. So, I'm giving the credit to Damon for that. So, anyways,
you're welcome. So yeah, so this is also Todrick Hall, and this is also a sponsored video of his for the movie The Greatest Showman. I really, really love the music from the movie, and this is sort of a good. One of the things I've liked about Todrick is that he's able to make these arrangements of all these songs and kind of give them a new life, as it were. So it's very interesting. I like what he did with it, and I like the costuming and whatever. So he had it's for different. It's him, but it's for different. Something's different about each one. Like when he did for the '90s, each one was in like a very different kind of '90s gear. And in this one, he's the ringmaster, the tightrope walker, the bearded lady, and the clown. And it's just him sort of singing the different music from the movie.
Right, and so he does 4-part harmony with himself. So yeah, no, it's a trend that he started. I don't know when, like some time ago. And so sometimes when he does a song or a mix or a mashup or whatever, he does this interesting things. I will say this about Todrick. I've been a small fan of his for a couple of years now. When he does these, the thing I noticed that I find fucking amazing is his choreography. Yeah, he's normally seated, so he's doing like I guess chairography. I don't know what the fuck you call that.
Chairography.
But he does a lot of
chair, so it's choreography.
Yeah, but he does a lot of hand body motion stuff that is exact. So he not only records it 4 times, he records it more than 4 times because he doesn't get a perfect take each time.
Yeah.
So Lord only knows if he's doing like, somewhere like 8, 12, 16, however many takes. But when he edits and puts it together, like it's 95% on every single time. The pop and locks, the head movement, like all the shit, it just blows me away because I'm like, how the fuck do you know how to do that exactly every single time? Like the head is always pointed at the exact same angle. I mean, I'm like, he must, I mean, obviously he's done choreography and he's musically, background, and he's done Broadway and shit. So, I mean, it's like he has that, but it always surprises me. I'm like, wow, like that's an interesting skill and discipline to be able to get it exact matching. So when you put the edit together, it looks like like 4 of him are like there's quadruplets and they all are in sync.
Yeah.
But it's all just
And it's
one
not
of it.
always in sync. Sometimes it's like there's like a wave sort of thing where it goes
Right.
from one side to the other, and just timing that out between it and things like in one part the ringmaster has his hands up while the tightrope walker has her hands down, and they switch back and forth. But it's like I can understand like memorizing choreography just so well that that by the time you get to it, you're doing like a perfect thing every single time, no matter which outfit he's wearing. But each of them are not always doing the same thing during it. And it's remembering which character you are to do the stuff that you want. And I like how they interact too between the two, and like some of them like the scene spreads between the different ones, and it's,
I mean, the cascading effect is pretty cool. Like he'll go left to right, right to left. Like, so I agree with you, Jeff. Like, you know, it'll be on like first, second, third, and fourth beats. If it's a 4/4 time measure, like, so whatever happens on the first one, then the second, then the third, and then the fourth. But also, yeah, I agree with you. Like he does these things where he already knows visually how it's going to look, obviously. So he's doing things like pushing the other versions of himself to slimmer, like, you know, space. So like the focus is on him. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a production, and I'm glad that he's putting that out there because it's cool to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Chester?
So mine is titled Hot Fresh Now. And it's referring to Krispy Kreme donuts. It's our friend Hadrian, and he picked up a box of donuts, of fresh Krispy Kremes, and he gives people who attend bear events a little life advice. And
hey guys,
he goes on to talk about how if you're going to an event and you're tired of getting shut down, which I think this is very funny for this particular show, if you're getting shut down and you want to put a stop to that, show up with a box of hot, fresh, now Krispy Kreme donuts.
And give them out to people.
And give them out to people, because you will suddenly become everybody's best friend.
So I will say this. Well, I guess I'll ask this question. Of the 3 of you, did you know about this video before now?
I did.
Okay.
Well, obviously I did, because I posted it.
Well, but what I meant was like recently, because this video isn't new. It's quite a few months, I think.
It's
from
June 3rd, 2017.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's from Tidal Wave, actually, I think.
It just popped up on my feed.
Yeah.
So I just assumed it was new.
I have Hadrian on radar. That's about the best way I could put it. I see a lot of his notifications. Like I get notifications, I should say, when shit gets posted. Like between him and Bailey, their Instagram and Tumblr and all this kind of stuff. So usually within an hour to minutes, I know that something's up. So when this came up, I watched it. And I'll be honest, the first time I watched it, I was really irritated with Hadrian because while I love him dearly, I was like, really, dude? Like, I realize you're trying to give out advice and it's meant to be satire and all that, but I'm more concerned about people that are going to legitimately think, like, if they can't get any attention, the way you get that is to give people food. And it's like, I don't know. Like, but I've come around since then. Like, I get it for what he's saying is basically he's trying to give some advice and say, here's one way, like, to get people to, you know, come over or whatever.
No pun intended.
Make you a glazed donut. So
all over my face.
Yeah. So no, I mean, it's like, and yeah, it's funny though. So it's good. And, we should probably look to have Hadrian on again soon. I can't think offhand what our upcoming topic stuff is, but he and Bailey have relocated. They're now in LA. So I think they've kind of settled, and I believe they came back from their trip abroad for New Year celebration and stuff. So see if we can get the boys on to join us again for something. My pick is a music video that actually got another bump in social media land. It's not recent, but in the 2017 like top 100 LGBT videos, this acquaintance / friends of mine, Jay Arcino, who I met many years ago through people acquainted with Freddie Freeman and all of that gang, the musical artist. I met him, and he is such a fucking sweetheart. And of course, he's fucking cute and hot to boot. But he was involved in Bear City 3. And he is actually in the film. If you see him, he actually like plays guitar and sings in that. But there's a song that they used of his called Shine. And DJ Sean Mack did a remix. And this is the official music video. It's fun. There's glow party paint type stuff. And I mean, it's just fun. And anyways, they had picked it as one of their kind of like LGBT artists you may not be familiar with. And so I was really happy and proud of him that they picked it, because he was like, "Woo, what an honor!" Like, I'm on a list and some stuff, so I wanted to give him some love and put a shout out there for his stuff. So
he's adorable.
He is. He's well. Anyways, he's all the words. And he's such a sweetheart. I'm glad I got to see him and spend some time hanging out with him when I was in New Orleans for the work trip for the conference. It was one of those like, hey, I happen to be in the area, like, you know, for this work conference. Can we get together and meet at Lafitte's and have a drink? And we did. So it was really great to see him, because
Sweet.
He's a great guy. Anyways, that's my pick.
Nice. You guess what, folks? That's the end. Oh. Plenty of ways to contact us. Pop over to our website, cubsoutloud.com. Shoot us an email at cubsoutloud@gmail.com. Leave us a sexy voicemail or otherwise at 361-COL-TALK. Join us on Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, and the Bear Underground. All at Cubs Out Loud. COL Entourage for Telegram, by the way, is our group there. And you can rate us on iTunes, give us a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, subscribe to us through Google Play Podcast. Also, get new merch, such as a version of this t-shirt and a... What did I just post? I just posted something.
The hat?
A new hat. Trucker hat. So it's not the nice cap. Like
hat. It says Cubs Out Loud.
So you can get some new merch. You can find me anywhere on the internet as Box Step Box Puppy Box Cub Box something or other.
You can find me as Theater Cub79 on most internet bear chat platforms, or you can find me as Pup_Umbra on Twitter.
You can find me on Tumblr or Twitter under the name The Pup Up There, hunting pheasants in your local park, or various bear dating sites across the net under the name Pup Shutter or Cupcake76. It's from the Tom of Finland movie.
Okay.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
It was their cue to say they're cruising for dick.
Gotcha.
Or
Okay.
that they're gay.
Gary?
That they're hunting pheasants. It was said several times throughout the movie.
Okay.
Okay, so if you would like to find me not having a what the fuck is that moment, you can probably find me online pretty much anywhere as GareBear73. That's GARBEAR 73.
Are you sure you're not in cigars?
Not Sloppy Bottom 22. Anyways, say goodnight, everybody!
Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.
Have a good one, y'all.
Wow.
Thank God you picked the... Yes, the post-show image is appropriate. I will be right back.
Where are you seeing the image?
It's on the...
well, it hasn't happened just yet. There's a bit of a delay still. Not a bit of a delay. Wow, there is a bit of a delay.
Urinals. 4 empty ones, too.
Nice. Well, that's more appropriate. Anywho, huh. Fun times. We're all really quiet. Just noticing.
Well, it happens sometimes. I had chatted on Growler while we were doing the show.
You chatted on Growler?
I got chatted on the Growler. He goes, "Hi, handsome." I go, "Hi, I'm John. And you?" "Jeff here. What's going on?" "Where from you?"
Ooh.
And I go, "I'm from Minnesota." Because he asked where from. Not where I'm at. And he goes, "California. Are you single?" I go, "Unfortunately, yes." And haven't heard from him since.
Well, he just wanted something that was NSA.
Well, he didn't ask for anything.
So what does his profile say?
Profile?
That's my usual, like, I mean, granted, you said you were from Minnesota, granted you're in Texas, but...
well, he's in California.
Yeah, and he's in California.
He was last active 41 minutes ago. He's 37. He is a bare smooth top versatile HIV negative, 180 pounds. I will like to make some new friend and see how it goes. LTR minded. If you want to know anything, just ask.
So he's not just... So it must be he got busy. I'm assuming he's at work or something, or he had to leave or whatever.
Well, it's not like I would be interested anyways. But
got it. Anyway.
He's too skinny for me, but that's, as I said, 180 pounds. Pfft. I'll see you in 100 pounds.
Wow.
That was pretty much my thoughts. When you said 180, I was like, and he's off by $1. Just knowing Jeff, I'm like, no, not remotely close for his interest.
Hashtag truth?
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's
well, at least
kind of what that is.
I tried to be relatively vague on his profile because we're still streaming live.
But that's enough.
I don't want to talk to him.
California's a big state.
Yeah. I was like, dude, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Hey, anyway.
But you know, shit happens. Oh, I can do 3. Nice.
So at one point, I think we had almost a dozen viewers.
Yeah.
Nice.
While we were live.
There's 6 people watching now, and I'm one of them. I'm about to sit mine down.
Yeah, that might have been skewed if they count.
Well, there were 4, or if I'm not 5 people in the chat.
13 was our max.
Nice.
And we got 3 thumbs up already.
Even nicer.
Hey, guess what? I'm going to stop streaming.
Bye.